Podcast. I am Border.
I am FOKLZ, I think.
Oh, I didn't think you were going to do it then. I thought I'm going to have to say it, aren't I?
Yeah, you kind of pushed me into that. I was like, well, I guess I have to.
Yeah, look at you. You're growing. It's like when we do the like and subscribe and where can people find you, and you just do the same thing every week. That's your thing.
Do you know what? I was saying, I was talking to someone about my channel the other day, and I've never said like and subscribe on any of my videos, like ever, since like I started. And they were like, you probably should do that, Bo. And I was like, I don't know. It just feels awkward. I don't know.
Mate, I'm out here begging for likes and subscribes. That's the difference. Like, when I get to 1,000, I'll stop doing it. I won't. But
next year, 2026.
Let's go. Well, I mean, I'm actually putting out content now. That does help as well, doesn't it? Rather than me do like one video a month. Like, and then like, wow, this is episode 35 of the podcast.
We've done like
nuts, really.
We've been doing this since what, like February, March? It's like been
it must be.
It's been a long
Which
time.
Is mad,
like
really.
9 or 10 months. Yeah, we'll have a year anniversary soon.
Yeah, which is like so mad because, like, for those people that don't know, essentially, I was running a like a post-game match report type reaction thing on the Canon Podcast Discord of all things. And then who comes on? You. I'm going
tipsy at the time as well.
Yeah, because I was going, God, this guy really knows his stuff. And I was thinking, I know that name from somewhere, but your Discord thing isn't your logo, which threw me even more. And look where we are now.
Because
we
lost to West Ham at the Emirates. If we didn't lose to West Ham, I probably wouldn't have gone in that thing. So
there you go. It was meant to be, wasn't
it? To happen, yeah. Exactly.
Out of the ashes was the FOKLZ podcast. Yeah. God. Yeah, how are you anyway, mate? You ready for Christmas? You actually there now? Are you done?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm not really a big Christmas guy. Doesn't really bother me too much.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, you're the Grinch, aren't you?
I guess so. I don't know. We just don't really like celebrate it much here. Like with my family, they don't really live in the same city as me. Every 2 years, we go and see my grandparents, and it is this year we are seeing them. But like, it's not really like a big thing like that for us. So I'm not really too bothered overall. But I love New Year's because I love going out for New Year's and having a great time there. But there's just so much football on, so I usually like around this period anyway. But I mean, it's been stressful, I think, but it's been all right. I'm glad we got this week off. This week's been nice. I had a lovely week.
Yeah. I'm usually like, I'm waiting, you know, when you're like, and quite often those weeks are slow news weeks as well. I thought, this could be a long drag. When I looked at it a few weeks ago, it comes and it's been perfect. Just felt like a little holiday, a little break. But nevertheless, we have got, football coming up this weekend. Just want to say to Trick Addy, I'm going with Trick Addy. We all go with Trick Addy? Yeah. Trick Addy, if that's not how you pronounce your name, please tell us. Like and subscribe. Join people. And also 610 in the house. Cornish internet doesn't help much either. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is true. Do you know what? I was fuming the other day because I came back home from work and my driveway was blocked, like completely blocked by barricades. And I'm like, what? Like, surely you can't just do that without like notifying me and saying, by the way, there's going to be work out your house or something. Anyway, found out. So I was really annoyed. Found out they're putting in the super fast internet on my road. And I was the last house that's getting it on the road. The rest of the house is, down the street, not getting any. And I went from pure anger and annoyance to, yes, I can't wait. Like, it's so funny, isn't it? Like, but hopefully, I won't have like Cornish internet. I'll have like, at least second world internet. We'll be moving up the chain slightly. Yeah, super fast to me is dial up. I'm going to be rocking it.
Well, I mean, I know when to speak. My internet in my house was literally broken for like a year, and the worst thing about it was the upload speed. I would upload a 9-minute video onto YouTube. It would take 2.5 hours, and I couldn't even go on the internet, and I had to deal with that for about 8 months. Making YouTube as my career, it was long.
That's mental.
We complained like over and over and over again, and then they eventually realized there was some problem with like the area, and everyone had the same issue with the same internet brand. So eventually we got it sorted. But yeah, I used to play like Rocket League, and I used to lag all the time and be like, well, I'm not playing Rocket League anymore, and it just annoyed me so much.
The trials and tribulations of having slow internet. Like, it is mad. Like right now, I can like I could stream in 4K. I've got the camera for it. I've got like, Riverside will let me do that. But no, my internet will not. So I always have to downgrade it. It's just so frustrating. Like, and I'm sure like people probably notice in my actual videos that I'm putting out, that the video quality is suddenly higher on that because I'm recording it and then uploading it. I'm like, well, if it takes an hour or two, whatever, that's fine. But yeah, when we're streaming, there's nothing worse than us being completely like out of sync, or I look like I'm made out of like 5 pixels. But I look like a Minecraft character. But there we go. Should we go through the agenda?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't shown you slides, so you're learning with everyone else. Isn't that nice? We are going to talk, and his injury setback, should I call it that? We are going to talk about Bobby and some transfers in general. We're also going to talk about the FIFA Best Men's 11. I don't know if you've seen that even. Have you seen that?
I briefly saw it. I saw some of the talk, but I haven't really looked into it very much.
So we could get like a full Wackles reaction out of that. That's going to be good. So might as well start on the news of Kai Havertz. Oh, I don't even like. It just annoys me at this point.
Yeah, but it's not true though. This is not true. This is just lies. This is
right.
Why,
come on then. Talk to me.
When the see, I did a short and a video on Monday. I did a video on Tuesday. I think I did a short on maybe Sunday or Monday around there, where I literally in there spoke about the reports about Havertz returning. And obviously, Hand of Arsenal spoke about how he's basically probably going to be back by the end of the year, which is in 2 weeks' time, like against Brighton. Tom Canton also said that with the same day that this report came out, he said it in the morning, and then he did, and I believe them two people a lot more than I believe Isaac Khan from the Daily Mail, respectfully. And then the thing that was quite telling for me is that because I thought the thinking of it is like, oh, maybe there's been another update and he knows it before they've reported it. So maybe at the time Hand of Arsenal said it was true, but then things change, which can always happen. But then I read the report by Isaac Khan, and then it was just really weird anyway, because he mentioned the setback in November, which we all knew about, apparently he was 1 week off returning, which was kind of mad. We didn't know that, but a lot of the other stuff we kind of knew. And a lot of it was just kind of waffle. Like, a lot of these reports are waffle. They have the big statement at the top, and then you're like, what are they writing about? It's like, oh yeah, Arsenal play Brighton in this game. Like, who cares? Like, it's just waffle. Like, it's not. I know we play Brighton when we play Brighton. I don't need you to tell. And I get why. Someone who's done a journalism degree, I get it. But like, it's stupid. I hate journalism like that. Because they have to like pad it out. I think it's stupid. Just make it short and concise if that's what it is. So I just didn't see much in it. And then the interesting part about all of it was after this report came out, Hand of Arsenal reposted his tweet he did about Havertz returning in 2 weeks' time. Tom Canton also did this weird like emoji tweet and didn't actually go back on what he said either. And then obviously I don't trust at all what Arteta says. That guy is like, he's so weird. But like in today's reports, he said I don't think if Havertz was going to come back in another month's time, or like just under a month, I don't think he'd be saying, oh, that's a couple of weeks, that he's close, because that's Mascara's time frame, and he hasn't even spoke about Mascara. So I kind of, I know it's like all just like reading Arteta, who's like the hardest man to read in the world, but I kind of just think like with Arteta, with Hand of Arsenal, with Tom Cantor, with other reports who I trust a lot more, I just don't think this is true. I think he will probably be back within the next 2 weeks. Maybe he won't start a game until the Portsmouth game or Liverpool game, but I mean, I don't think Jesus is going to start a game for ages anyway. Like, so I don't know. And I see these reports and I just think it's like fear mongering again, and I don't really believe it. I don't know. Maybe it's true, but personally, I just can't believe it right now.
I didn't realise that. I haven't seen any hand of Arsenal's tweets. I mean, you know what? I've been trying to stay offline as much as I could, just simply because the Wolves game, which I'm sure will come up at some point, but that just irritated me so much. I was like, yeah, I just need this week break. Need like my own Christmas break from football, but there we go. I mean, 610 said, BS report. Do you think someone's feeding fake stories out? Ben White news today didn't seem to line up either. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing's odd at the moment, isn't it? Like, I just find that the media have got a really good way of presenting things when it comes to Arsenal. And I might just sound like one of these kind of tinfoil hat people like Arsenal fans, but over the years, I have seen certain things just reported differently. And I think, is the wording put out like that? Like, because maybe it is. Maybe the idea was that Havertz was always going to come back around Liverpool-Portsmouth time in the starting lineup. Because we talked about it last week. We talked about, like, Saliba coming back, and he probably would have come back, like, say, 2 seasons ago. He would have been thrown back in. That would have been it. We saw a Trossard coming on, then coming off. We've seen like a lot of players actually, as much as we have got an injury crisis, like that they are trying to manage their minutes a bit. So I do think like maybe that was the plan anyway. So in which case, like, why is this news come out? It's just so odd. Like, I don't know. But then people got to make money. People got to get their stories read and stuff. And I jumped straight on the internet in my furor, just of, no, I'm not happy. There's like another injury. Like,
well, that's why I was wondering if you'd actually seen the reports, because you made the video and I was watching the video and I was like, I don't think it's true, because I did a short set and I just think this is fake. And like, it's just weird because, like, maybe someone told him or whatever. Like, I guess he's somewhat credible. You know, these people that work at these newspapers give each other awards and hand each other out, you know, their own friends, their stuff, whatever, which doesn't mean anything. Like, I think a lot of the time, award ceremonies, as you all know, I think they're all kind of stupid in any media. I think they're all just subjective, basically.
yeah.
But like, yeah, like it's weird because he's the only person who said it. And the thing is, Sam C, who's like a quite big guy, he's more of an aggregator on Twitter, but he does do some transfer news and stuff. He basically just got the tweet or whatever. He reposted the tweet by Issachar and literally just said like, "Oh, this is what he's reporting." And then some people are reporting that he's now said that when he's gone, "Well, no, I didn't. I'm just saying that this is this guy's report," which is like, why bother? But again, you've got a big platform, fair enough, whatever. Because I think I originally didn't see it from him, but I guess some people might have. So that's why I think some people are getting confused. But this has literally only been one person that said this, and it might be true. But like the comment said, like the Ben White thing is weird because we're getting told Ben White was a month, and that was by a lot of sources. That was by the BBC. I think Sammy Mockbell said that. I think I don't know if David Ornstein said that, but there was some credible sources saying that Ben White had been out for a month. And it does seem like every injury Arsenal get is like, oh, we'll say a month. Like, it does kind of seem like that's the period. But then, like, yeah, he came out in the press conference today. And, like, we know that Arteta is a little bit of a capper, but he's not a capper in terms of, like, if it's a major injury. He's quite honest if someone's out for a while. Like, you know, as soon as Mascara got injured, he was like, well, we're not going to see him for ages. But he's come out today and said that, oh, Ben White's injury is not a major one. And I was like, oh, I thought he's pulled his hamstring. Not a major ham. Like,
I wonder, like, what is it like lost in translation though? Like, is his idea of a major one that they're going to be out for the year? Whereas, like, he's just, it's minor. It's just,
I feel
just
like
4 weeks.
anything over,
I don't know. Like,
I think anything over 3 weeks or over is probably major. I think given what we know about Arteta, I think he might see it like that. Maybe it's a month and he says it's major. It's somewhere around that ballpark. So I definitely know an Arteta. I don't know if Ben White will be back towards the end of this year, but I don't think he'll be out for. It doesn't seem like it'll be too long, which is
no.
which is really good. Like, I mean, and that's the thing. And obviously, no one said anything about Gabriel. Hand of Arsenal's been talking about Gabriel. Gabriel's probably the closest one. Like, he was
Hmm.
he was really fighting to play for against Everton tomorrow, but apparently it's come
Yep.
a little bit too early, and he'll probably be in the squad if things go right against Brighton. I would imagine we wouldn't bother against Palace, but against Brighton, I would imagine that's something we look for. So I mean, players are coming back. Let's just hope that not everyone else gets injured this time.
No, yeah, and that's the problem, isn't it? Because you get another cluster of injuries, and then it doesn't. And I think that's the biggest concern. I'm going to bring up this graphic a minute. You've probably seen it on my video because I know you're hiding in the background, checking up on me, mate. But this one, total injuries since last season. Arsenal have made 100 now. Brighton on 97, and then there's quite a big like drop. Like Tottenham down to 90. You're looking at mid 80s for Newcastle, Aston Villa, and City. And then, I mean, how are West Ham only getting 40? I think they're on 44. But like, how?
It's because
What are they doing
don't
down
run.
there?
They don't run. They do nothing. They
Yes,
just sit
yeah, that
there.
is
They don't
true.
run at all.
Yeah, boys, just stand still. We won't get any injuries. All right, that's the big cat. That's the big plan.
All their injuries
And
are to their
eventually, we're going to play the
centre-backs.
long game.
Their centre backs and their strikers are the only people that get injured because no one else on the team moves. That's the problem.
Yeah, it is crazy though that we have made 100 injuries, and then in that, most injuries. There are a couple other pages here, but I'll just bring up these because these are the main. I mean, Ben White now on 9, which I did find interesting. I was like, is that? I do need to kind of have a little dig into this and find out if they count like sickness as an injury, because I know on transfer marks they quite often do that. Or if it's like, if you have like a setback, would they count that as another injury? I don't know. But 9, I was like, what's he injuring? Like, I'm sure like you usually have like the same kind of injuries, like recurring injuries, but nevertheless, they're saying 9 for Ben White, Declan Rice on 8.
Yeah, that's the
But how
weirdest
funny
one.
that,
Like
yeah,
he's missed like not that many games last season. I swear.
yeah,
Like,
Mr. Consistent. He's always there. He's like always available, and then he's in second place. So, and like Calafiori, I looked and went, well, I know he was out for a long period at the beginning, but I think a lot of his other injuries are where he's just like missed one game
yeah,
or 2 games. Like,
that is
especially looking at this
100%
season.
the Timber because Timber had that month
Mm,
injury towards the end of last season, and barring that, he's played nearly every game. Barring ones that he's even been dropped because of rest, or maybe he had a slight knock and he's not been in the squad. But it's like that's
yep.
like the Timber and Rice special, isn't it? Like come off with a knock and then they're fine. Realistically, they're just tired because they play all the time. Um,
Yeah.
so
Do
it's a
you
weird one.
like? Are you worried? And I say Ben White in particular. Are you worried about him like long term now? Because I know I said it must have been around about June last year. I said, looking in a year in advance, I think Ben White might be someone that we have to look at and go, he might need to move on because injury wise, he suffers. He is definitely behind Timber in the pecking order, and that was clear last year. And then you go, well, how much longer can you keep him and then his value be high, especially with his injury record? Like, I think still at the end of this season, you could get good money for Ben White. And those comments he made about, I think he got man of the match, didn't he? And he said, we've got plenty of players here that would start in big teams that don't get like the minutes, don't start games. And I don't think he actually meant it like that, but maybe there's a subconscious thing where he is kind of looking, going, I am good enough to play at pretty much any Premier League club, but here I can't get in. And then when he does get a little break, then he's injured again. So, I mean, are you concerned long term for like people like White or Havertz, or is it a case of they'll come back within a month, say, and starting games, and we'll just get it was what it was.
I think the
and
big
move on.
issue is just like we are like people always talk about like why do we get injuries and we never really know the answers. But a big
Yeah,
reason of it is the way that we play. Like people don't want to talk about it, but we are an incredibly aggressive side. People talk about how good our defense is. Well, why do you think it's so good? Because we have 10 players run back every single time we lose the ball.
yep,
Ben White literally picked up his injury, which has actually been a similar injury that a lot of football players have been picking up the last 2 years, is where you have to recover in a quick sprint, like a quick action, and then he goes to run back and he pulls his hamstring. And that is, I mean, that really annoyed me, that injury, because it was just came from a stupid Super Mendy pass. And I was like, well, and then we all just run back and he pulled his hamstring. I was like, oh my God, like, what are we doing? But like stuff like that. And also when I look at how high Arsenal's like defensive line is, we know it's the highest in the league. That's going to cause injuries as well. Like for recovery times, the recovery pace that team needs to have in everywhere in this position. That doesn't surprise me that hamstrings are getting torn left, right, and center. Like, it's in Saka, Gabriel, Havertz, Martinelli, like all had hamstrings injuries. And now Ben White in the last like 8 months. And it doesn't surprise me. The worry is like, if we get rid of Ben White and bring in another right back, is it going to make any difference? Like, are they going to come in and just be an injured player? Like, I know Ben White brings a lot to the squad in behind the scenes. He's 28, so he's he's our oldest defender that we have at the club. Barring Raya, if you count Raya, and Kepa, I guess. He's one of the oldest, most senior players that has been at the club a long time. I think there's a certain level with Ben White in himself will want to win at Arsenal before he ends up leaving. So if we win something this season,
Yeah, I
maybe he
agree with
might
that.
consider
Definitely.
that. I also think Ben White is probably not too bothered. He gets paid well. He can still play quite a lot of minutes. We have the depth and the backups needed. Timber can't play forever. And even then, like, there's not really much cover. Like, it's just them two. And even then, maybe Mascara, but the Mascara's a centre back cover. So there's 4 players for 2 positions. So he will play enough anyway if he's fit. But
Yeah.
I do really think that these injuries are a problem. And like, Havertz barely ever got injured ever, like before this. Like, look at his injuries. His highest 6 games he missed for coronavirus. Like, that's it. He barely, most of his games he actually missed with the virus more than getting injured. He missed 10 games for the virus, which is insane. And like, this is the thing with Havertz. He was incredibly durable.
Yeah, especially I've just realised they get influenza there as well.
Yeah,
so like,
yeah.
You're going coronavirus here, cold here, influenza here.
Yeah, ill at the bottom. Yeah, that's like 60 games missed for being ill. Like, he's never been like this, but he's one of them players like Xhaka that was insanely durable for such a long time. But the problem is we just broke that by playing him all the time. And I'm worried that that's going to happen to someone like Rice, because we all love Rice's durability and how great he is and how he covers so much ground, but we can't just run him into a ground forever. Like, there has to be a certain level where he has to, we have to find a way to play without Rice in certain games. And Havertz is the perfect example of that. I still don't fully think the team is great without Havertz. I think people may not like Havertz and the player he is, but it kind of feels like this team are built to play with a Havertz in 99% of the games, and they still haven't learned fully how to play without him. I'm sure we'll talk about some of the other strikers in a bit, but like, I think the problem with that is like, I think that's one of Arteta's big like problems at this club, is that he really relies on certain players, and then we can't live without them. And then because of how intense that we play, they get injuries. We saw that with Odegaard last year. He played a 4-4-2 when Odegaard went in the team. Like, he completely had to change everything. When Rice is not in the team this year, or Zubimendi has to play every 90 because he doesn't trust anyone else to do his role, because no one can, because it's such a specific role. Like, these things worry me a little bit. And the injuries will pile up, unfortunately, for us. Like, we just need to keep buying players that can come in and do it. And I'm hoping now that Havertz, when he comes back from his injury in the next few weeks, that he's barely played this entire year, which is mental. He's been injured this entire 2025, after having a great 2024. He was one of our best players in that year. But I think that I just want him to come back, and at least now we don't have the reliability on him. I know people can have questions about Gyökeres, we have questions about Jesus, people have questions about Marino, but we have options now that we didn't have 9 months ago.
Yeah,
it was just Havertz up front as our only striker, and then Trossard as backup before he got injured. So now at least like he can have that rotation, and that's what you want with Ben White as well. Maybe that means buying another centre back, right back hybrid. Maybe like a Jeremy Jacket, who's a bit younger, but he can still give minutes. Maybe something like that would also help Ben White and not be like a gate, like a path blocker, which people kind of think. I just think getting more players in is probably better at this point, and that's the worry for me. But I think Havertz, at least now he's back. Well, at least coming back, I'm excited. I think he's going to be good. So that's it.
I love that you're like just trying to play it off. I'm excited. We know you are, mate. We know that you're absolute Havertz lover. Fair play. Like, you know what? Like, hats off to him, because when he came, I didn't want him. And then he played as like, this midfield role, and I thought, yeah, you're not convinced me here either. And then when it was suggested he went up front, like I looked at him more of like right wing kind of cover, and sometimes as a 10, like just as like general squad player. And then when he went up top, like fair play to him, because his pressing was unbelievable. And there were like times where just physically he got himself about. And I didn't realize he had that kind of side to his game, that like just, well, the shithousery. I don't really know a new way of putting it, but that side of his game I was really impressed by. And I think for a lot of fans, that's what endeared him to them. Because for me, I've always wanted like a proper 9, someone that's going to be running the channels or getting in and beyond. And there we are right now. And I'm going, bloody hell, like Gyökeres, like, come on, start doing something for me, man. And I'm looking at Havertz going, well, maybe you are the best option we could possibly get. We said it last week, didn't we? We're like, is Jesus actually the best profile? Is it Havertz? And neither of us said Gyökeres is the best profile. It wasn't even a consideration.
The funny thing is, all 3 of our strikers are like such confidence players. Like, when they are not playing well, they are not playing well. Like, arguably worst player on the pitch, like, just can't be in the squad. But when they're confident and they're on good form and they have it for a longer streak, they're great. Marino's the only one that I'd say out of all of the ones that play up front is like,
step in and
he kind of just does the same. He plays, I know, like in some games he played really well, in some games he played really bad, but I don't think like the disparity in their performances is as big as some of the other players. I think like broadly Marino comes in and does the same things because he keeps it simple for himself. Like he plays the midfield role a little bit more. And I don't think Marino is a guy that's like a confidence guy. I think Marino broadly doesn't really, I don't know. He just seems to have a lot of leadership abilities and a lot of skill in mental attributes where I think that it doesn't really bother him as much. But like
he's also a player that if he's really off, he can still, like we've seen it, like pull out some random back heel, or like he just suddenly comes up with a header and scores. And
it's like with him, it's like he can have 3 bad games in a row, but then be amazing. I feel like with all the other players, if they're bad for 2 or 3 games in a row, I can't see them being good in the next game unless a miracle happens and then they get their form back up. And that's what it took. Jesus was a perfect example of that. When he was on form, when he first came in, it was incredible. Then he got injured, he came back, and he just couldn't get anything going for like months. And like, it was just so evident. And I mean, Havertz, like the first months, I know he was in midfield, but they were a mess. Like the tactics, I don't
Didn't
think
we give him a
him.
penalty as well?
Yeah, that's what changed it. Like the penalty we gave him against Bournemouth, which was his first goal for the club, that really did change a lot of the mood. And then he played with different players. He played with Trossard, he played with Odegaard, he played with Jesus at times, and he worked it like so well in different positions. Like and even when he played in midfield, I know it's like he played in midfield in the game against Villa where we lost, and that was the one that everyone says we lost and didn't win the league. He actually played well in that game. It wasn't his fault. And I know, like,
I remember us having this conversation, didn't we? Because it was like that was the headline, and it's like, well, that's actually one of the few times I didn't mind it. Like I was all good with that one.
I think it would work better now because even last year we played them in midfield against Palace away. We won 5-1. It literally happened 21st of December last year, so almost a year ago, I think, or 22nd. It was on that weekend. And that was when Saka tore his hamstring and we didn't see him again for like 4 months. Yeah. We won 5-1 in that game just because them two were just running rampant. They're just in the box. And I actually see a lot of talk about Havertz online about people saying that, like, well, he's not efficient. He's not, he doesn't make good runs in the box. He's as bad as Gyökeres. But he's actually a big presence in the box. Like, Havertz is felt in the box. He's never a bystander. The ball's always going somewhere near him, and he's always getting to that ball, at least trying. And I think that's something that Arsenal miss dearly right now.
Yeah, 100%. And I think as well, like looking at the new data for like transitions and things, like because this Premier League now it's just gone mental this season. Like year on year, possession has gone up and up and up, and the speed of transition seems to have been going down. But then this year, it's just gone completely different. And I think you were alluding to it last week, saying about how, I think actually it was 2 weeks ago, about how teams lower down the table just realize actually just cause chaos. Like even if the ball is going out or whatever, just cause complete chaos because it opens the game up. and it makes it easier for a team to suddenly, take over or
makes
get a
sense,
goal.
yeah.
But I think for us, part of Havertz missing is because when we are going long, it's really difficult. Like Gyökeres is not someone who does the same type of job as Havertz when we are going long. And I think, that's another area of his game that we do miss. And it's just, he's got so many different facets to his game. Like, fair play to him because he has. I'm still not, and I don't think I ever will be because aesthetically, what he does and how he moves is just not for me. But
Do you like
he's
Gyökeres
definitely got
more?
my respect. Huh?
You like Gyökeres' movement more?
Yeah.
I
don't know.
will say, it's so funny we talk about how the league's got so counter-attacky, and it's so fun. You could just see why it's happened because last year the two teams that did really successful were Bournemouth and Forest, and that's all they
Yep.
did. So every team's just gone, well, it worked for them last year, so let's just
Let's
get
do
loads
it.
of big guys in and just run around and hope. And Arsenal don't work. I still don't think we work particularly well in chaos. I think there's been
Yeah.
seasons we've worked decently, but that Villa game, we just hated it because we couldn't get control. And I worry with a Zubamendi world where if Arsenal don't have control, what are we looking at? We're not efficient enough in front of goal. We don't take our chances even when we do create, which makes us so bad in these situations. And you look at someone like City, against Palace, I'd say that game could have easily been a draw. They won 3-0, had 3 shots on target or something. And that's something that we just can't do. And that's a problem. I hate the point where Arsenal have to be amazing to win game or to even win convincingly, let's say. And the Wolves game was an example of that. But yeah, I agree with Havertz is an engine. Havertz is good, man. I think he's just an unselfish player and he platforms other players, which makes him, it's just our team is just set up for him, even if he is bad in that sense. Even if he's awful, I just think the team's better with him. And something that's really been pissing me off lately, sorry, man, but I had to say it, is that David Raya, his distribution has been really good. But why? It's not just him, it's a lot of the defense as well. For the last 3 games that we've played, for some reason, every time Arsenal gets nervous, they just boot the ball forward for 20, 30,
I had a
35 minutes.
feeling you're going to say this when I said about us missing Havertz. I in my head, I was like, I'm waiting for him to bite on this. But, I've noticed as well.
The Brentford game was the worst game out of all 3. If anyone watches, I actually remember this so vividly because I've watched it 4 times, but I remember it so much. From the 45th minute from the second half kicks off to about the 63rd minute, for that 18-minute period, we touched the ball like nothing because every time Raya gets it, boots the ball forward, we lose the first, we either win the header or lose the header. Marino was in that game and he wins some headers, but even if he did, we didn't win the second ball and they just came up again. And that's exactly the last 10 minutes of the Wolves game. I read a report about it, but I watched it and could see it happening. We're just nervous. We're just booting the ball forward. And then I'm so happy that after the game, Arteta literally said, they need to stop hoofing it and kicking it long. And we need to play our game. Because I've been thinking about this for weeks now. And I'm like, why are we doing this? It just feels like, well, Raya's I can kick the ball long and let's just do it. No. Especially when we have Gyökeres in the team. But even then, it's just not every team in the Prem has giants. It's just not the best method. So I don't know. That's something that we really need to fix. If we do that tomorrow, oh my god! If we do that against Everton, I'm going to lose my mind because they're going to just win every header. They're going to beat us to every header in the air. That's the whole thing they're good at.
It could be a horrible game. I'm quite confident about it, but it could just turn, if you know what I mean. It's one of those where you just go, oh. But,
I'm hoping the week off will do a lot. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. Let's kind of keep on the idea about, looking at the squad, because you mentioned Zubamendi and Reece and the fact that they both do very specific jobs for our team. They're 2 players that I look at and think, if I could, if I had unlimited money, could I upgrade on them for the role that they do in the team? And I don't know. You'd be hard pushed. Reece, I think that's just a no. But what he does physically is just unbelievable. Zubamendi, maybe a Rodri, but is he fit ever? And as well. But there's not really who else plays that 6 role and does it the same way he does. But nevertheless, we do need kind of more runners in midfield. We need more physicality. We've talked about young players. We've talked about, Agume. We've talked about Buadi in the past. But with this coming out, 20-year-old Bobby Mainu, I don't know, what do you want to call him? The jewel in the crown, the secret starlet of United. I mean, his brother, let's just go for this, all right? So, it's Old Trafford. Bobby Mainu's brother decides to wear this T-shirt. Apparently, Ben Jacobs is confirming that Bobby signed off on this and knew about this. I don't know if you had that.
He liked a post as well with someone wearing it.
Oh, did he?
On Insta. It might.
I love how chronically online you are. You know everything.
I just saw it on Twitter. I didn't even use Insta. I've never gone on that app in my life.
Well, there we have it. You're not as old as me. That's why.
No, it's for my age demographic. Everyone my age uses Insta. I've never used it. I just don't care about photos that much, I guess.
That's because you're the kind of guy that loves TikTok.
TikTok's all right. I mean, I'm more of a YouTube guy. That's my thing. That's my UGG thing. I talk to people now and I'm like, oh, I watch YouTube. They're like, you watch YouTube still? Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I live on YouTube. I don't actually live on YouTube. That's a figurative language there. That's, figure of speech. For me, this is just stupid.
There's only one team this can happen with it. It's just one team. There's only one team that this has happened with.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I just think it's stupid because you're not even starting for United, who aren't, like a top club currently. I mean, across, globally, yes, they're huge. They're an insane brand. But in terms of, performance-wise, they're not a top club. And you're then getting on the pitch against, who did they lose? Grimsby, wasn't it? Puts in a horror of a performance. And then you got the audacity to be like, you know what, bro? Yeah, wear that at Old Trafford and stand against the railings so everyone can see. It just screams of you need some media training and you need some guidance and you're surrounded by just numpties. I am so glad. This is the type of thing that would have happened to us about 10 years ago. It would have been. I think of the things Granit Xhaka throwing the armband on the floor. And then do you remember Lacazette? When he got his car washed and he got kind of not suspended from a game, but because of COVID rules, he couldn't do it. Because they were all photographed. We've had all these stupid things coming out, and the Chesney thing when it all came out, they were smoking in the changing room, and this kind of screams of a big club that has really started going downhill and is struggling to get a foot up the mountain. I just look and go, I'm so glad it's not us anymore. I'm so happy.
It's like a pantomime. That's how. It's very similar to what was happening with Garnacho and his brother.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much of that is inherently United's fault as a club. I think the message of this is completely fine. I think he should play more. I think it's a joke that he's not playing, but I think this is just performative and weird. But I mean, I particularly I think it's kind of funny. I can't lie. Obviously, if it was my club, I'd be like, that's kind of dumb.
And that's the thing, isn't it? If it's your club.
But the thing is, I know a lot of United fans that stand with this message, and I agree that Cobby should be playing. Manchester United right now on expected points, a third in the league. They're actually good. They're actually not a bad team at all. There is issues with their squad and how they play, but he's just changed to a 4-back. They drew 4-4 against Bournemouth and should have won. They were actually quite good against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
They just can't defend. And that's been their issue all season. Their attack is actually really good. It's been pretty good all season. Their numbers are good. They attack well. They have loads of shots. They dominate teams. They're a tough place to go to again. And Kobbie Mainoo is 9,900 times player better than Ugarte. So how Ugarte starts over him, I have no idea. What can Ugarte do? He can tackle. Wow. Wow, what is he, Polina at Spurs? Like, are you going to do anything else with it? No, all he does is win the ball. Oh, can he do anything with the ball? No.
Well, it
At
did
least,
seem like, sorry to cut you. It did seem like Amram, I can't remember the comments he made, but it was more or less like it's Kobe Mainu or Bruno, and then it's Casemiras or Ugarte. That's what it like seemed like anyway. It's like I can't choose between Ugarte and Kobe. Like,
well, that's
why?
that. But
Like,
the thing
because
is,
he's not a similar profile to any of them.
well, Amaron's just a capper. He's even worse than he, because Ugarte and Casemiro have literally played together in midfield multiple times
Mm,
this season. Bruno, like, okay, if you want to keep him in the sixth role, he's your best player in your squad, whatever. I think it just would have been better to keep him in the 10. Even now, I think it's
yeah,
better to put him in the 10, put Cunha up front, and then put Mbermo well, on the wing. Obviously, Mbermo's not going to be there now because of AFCON. So then you could put Šeško in the team now. He's come back from injury, cool, and put Cunha and
yep,
Bruno. And I don't think it really matters if Bruno's on the right at all. And like just play Kobe, because ultimately, like I completely understand the frustration around this guy not playing. He was literally England's starter in the Euros, and bear in mind, I don't think he probably should have been, but he was pretty good in that tournament. I don't think Kobe
yeah,
knows what player he is. He's a child. He's a young guy that hasn't really found his way. He's a central midfielder that hasn't. He's like we talk about Buedi and having all this potential to go into these different ways. It's very like Kobe, even though Kobe's a bit older. He just doesn't know. He's like a pretty good dribbler. He's good at carrying the ball, but that's it. He doesn't create a lot. He's not a great tackler. He's not brilliant at recoveries. But that is because they haven't developed him and they have no idea what they're doing with him. And how
yeah. That's
Ugarte,
true.
even Ugarte, to pay 45 mil, it's so funny with the tweets about Ugarte when he signs and all the like love. And it's kind of like the Okres thing with us. But Ugarte was never good. He was never good at PSG. I can't believe when United signed him, I was like, he is just not going to be great. And he's not as bad as I thought he'd be sometimes, but he just doesn't do anything. Well, and when you have a two-man midfield, you need your midfielders to actually have some sort of on-the-ball qualities. They can't just be these off-the-ball merchants. So,
Yeah,
like, Kobe not playing, I think, is inexcusable. And his career is getting totaled down. I'm not surprised if he wants to leave in January, because I've spoke to many United fans. I've watched I've watched the last like 4 or 5 United games. Every time Kobe comes on, he looks way better than any of their midfielders, bar and Bruno. Really, he looks better than Casemiro. He looks better than Ugarte. And I'm like, well, why is this guy not playing? Even if I don't know where he is. And I've always been like against him for Arsenal because one, it's never going to happen. Let's be real. Like top six transfers don't happen unless there's some sort of contract expiry or we're
or
dealing
if
with
it's Arsenal or
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Yeah, because we're best friends with them. Or City or whatever. But like it only comes with like it only comes in certain situations where teams are rebuilding and there's players that are going to certain areas. We've never really done business with United in terms of buying players from United like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like the thing is, United aren't gonna, as a club, they're not gonna just want their best young talent to just leave to a rival in a sense, like in a league. Even if he wants to go, even if it makes sense, like, and they're gonna price him up like loads of money. So if it was like 20 mil, I'd be like, yeah, sure. Like I think we could mold him into a good player. But these young players, a lot of the time, people talk about getting them, but the big part about getting them is that you need to have an idea of what you want to do with them. You know, I'm going to use a great example here when no one watching and you're not going to get it at all, but I don't care. I can say it anyway. Uh, there's a game called Halo. If anyone knows Halo, and there's a guy called Legend who was a Halo World Champion. He got a CDL offer, so he got a professional Call of Duty offer this year. They put him on a professional Call of Duty team. He doesn't know how to play the game, and they put him with 3 children. And they're like, there's no experience in the team, there's no leadership, and they have no idea. And they dropped him. 2 weeks he got dropped. He played 3 matches. And I think like when you look at that, it's like, yeah, cool. You took the risk to get that player in. But where was the idea? Did you have any development plans? Did you have an idea to
yeah,
get this guy to learn? And you didn't. And then you don't get the credit for getting these players in. If we sign Buedi and have no idea what we're going to do with him, then it's a joke. I think
yeah,
obviously we
yeah,
would, but it's just that thing. It's like I think Yoro is a really good player, and United did a big coup to get him. But his passing is pretty bad. Like it is respectfully quite bad. He's a good defender one-on-one. I don't think the free back helps him actually, which you would think it does. I don't actually think it does. But I look at the development and I'm like, have I seen much development in a year? Like I know he's still young and he's got time. I'm not saying it's like a big thing now, but I'm saying that if that was a player for Arsenal, I'd want to see a bit more. We've already seen Mascara develop
I
loads in
was,
the
yeah,
last
just about
two
to say
months.
that.
Like it's one of the big things I think with buying these sort of players that I would look for.
Yeah, I mean, I look at him and this is going to sound really harsh. I just don't think he'll ever get to the standard that we need. Like I just don't. And when he first broke on the scene, I can remember that on this channel there is a Fodder and Melon podcast. So when I first started, and Mel, he was on here, big United fan, and I can remember having a discussion with him, and I said, I think he's going to be another player that everyone talks about. He's going to be the next best thing. He's going to lead United back to the promised land. Da, da, da. But my original kind of opinion was, no, he's going to be another guy that everyone hangs their hat on and thinks that he's going to be amazing, and he's just going to kind of get through and either just stay at United for years and not really do anything, or we end up leaving and then he'll end up at somewhere like Crystal Palace. And that's, no offense to Crystal Palace, but, he won't be at the highest echelons of football. I just don't think that will happen. And he's almost got that thing of, do you remember like Oxlade-Chamberlain when it was like, oh, is he a wing back? Is he a winger? Should he be playing in centre midfield? Like what do we do with him? And where's he going? And it took him to go to Liverpool to really find out. And then he got decimated by injuries anyway. And still, I think if he didn't get his injuries, he wouldn't have been at the top of the heap. Like I just look at Copy and think, I don't think he really knows if he's a 6 or 8. For me, he's more of an 8. Like physically, his carrying's very good, but I don't think you can have a 6 really and dominate in Europe or probably even in the Premiership. Like who can't really pass the ball. Like he can't dominate a game by standing still. Whereas I look at like a Zubimendi or a Rodri, they can dominate a game and they don't have to move if they don't want to. They both do. They're both very mobile. They've changed how 6s are now, but like if they wanted to, their passing is just so dominant. And I don't think he'll ever have that. And like Chikadi's hit the nail on the head. Like I think Agume's better. I think there's so many prospects that are just better. One, because they're either specialists in what they do, or two, they're just better at everything. And that might not mean they're like world class at everything or anything in particular, but each little thing they're better at. But yeah, for 20 mil, I agree with you. I
don't know.
would take him.
I feel like some of that is a bit harsh. Like he ultimately he is a 20-year-old central midfielder. Like I think sometimes maybe I'm a bit of a victim of this as well. But in terms of like the problems that you just explained with Kobbie Mainoo, is still the same problems I think Boadi has. Like Boadi doesn't know if he's a 6 or an 8.
I do, but I feel like he's better at everything.
He's not. I don't. Boadi is a very, very good carrier, but he's way less on the ball than Kobbie. He doesn't demand the ball anywhere near him. He is probably still a worse passer. His passing is not that great. Creativity, I would say, I would probably give Boadi a bit of an edge, but I would say in defensive areas, I still think Kobbie is probably at the moment a better player. Ultimately, Boadi has a better build than him. He is a taller player. He's more lanky and can get that. But we're talking about potential here. Like Boadi doesn't have that yet. He isn't an assured player. He's a good recovery tackler, but he's not necessarily like a good sitter. And like I was speaking to some people about Boadi. I've watched Boadi a lot, but I was speaking to people that watched him for years and years and years when he was like a child and like what he's actually good at and stuff. And they speak to me and they said like he's just not a guy that dictates games at the moment because he just doesn't want the ball that much, which is a problem. Like we talk about these roles needing to dictate. I think Kobbie has that a little bit more in him. And I do think in terms of a youngster, midfielders take a long time to find their way out of any position because it's so complicated. Every single midfield in elite European teams play a different. Like, no, we play similar, I would say, to a PSG mold at the moment, but it's not the same. And everyone's different. I would argue Zubimendi's more of an 8 than a 6 at the moment, but he does do 6 things. He's like a hybrid.
Yeah.
Agame is just a 6. He's just a good tackler. He wins the ball back and passes it to other people. He's an okay passer. He's in that Thomas Partey mold, but he's also like 3.5 years older than Kobbie Mainoo and has less experience than Kobbie Mainoo. And like, so it's like it's one of them things where it's like he might look better, but I don't actually know if he is in practice if you put him in the same situations. And I think Cobby, like, I don't know. I never thought he was going to be like this supreme talent. Like you said, I agree. I didn't when he first played for England. Because I just didn't see the way that Man United are going to mold him. I think like such an important thing about youth players is that you have the talent, but where are you going to mold them, especially midfielders? And I just personally don't trust Man United to mold any youngsters. I think some of their players have done really well. Like, obviously, I do think Greenwood was really good for them before everything happened and he had to leave. I do think Rashford was really good for them in some seasons. And I don't necessarily think his drop offs are on United's fault, like to an extent. But a lot of their other youngsters, I feel like the same sort of problems have happened where they just don't have an idea. United have always been a team that want to win, win, win right now. So instead of taking time to develop talents and take that, they're buying their 31-year-old Casemiro's for 50 mil and 300 grand a week. They're spending 50 mil on Ugarte. And I know Ugarte's not old, but he's just not good, respectfully, at that level. And like, they just panic. They do all these panic buys. Like,
Yeah.
even now, they want Semenyo. Like, you just spent like so much money on your attack, and they're talking about Semenyo. I love Semenyo, and I think Semenyo for United actually works better than he probably does for most other top six clubs. But it's just a waste of funds, in my opinion. You need a midfielder, or if you're not going to play Minu, buy another midfielder. Swap. Casemiro's not getting any younger, and like things have to change. So I don't know. There's things that I think Cobby's actually better than what some people make him out to be. We just haven't seen him in a long time. But I don't know. Like, I need to like some of the talents that we talk about. I think from outside of the UK, especially, like, we see them even if you watch them a lot, you see them through a fisheye. You see them through a certain lens where the media want you to basically like him because they're an exciting player. I think Cobby is at the moment, because he's a United player, because and I said this about Garnacho as well. Well, Garnacho was never a good fit for us, but Garnacho wasn't a bad player. Chelsea have now got Garnacho for £20 million. And like, I know right now he's not amazing. I know some games he's been hit or miss. He's a 20-year-old winger that has experience in the Premier League level, scoring a good amount of goals and getting good output. I was like, you think about when Martinelli was 20, if he was doing that, we'd all be loving him. And I was like, just because he's got a bit of an arrogant nature about him, fair enough. But I think that, like, sometimes people don't see talents in the same country as they do from other places. And like, if you said like, I don't mind Agame, but I think Agame or Gume or whatever, I think he's quite a boring signing in terms of what our team are doing. I think if he plays how Arsenal are playing right now, then we would go more into the system of last year, maybe with Party. But I don't know if
Yeah,
Ugame
that's true.
is ready to step up to that Party level, because Party had done it for years, even with his injuries. He'd been experienced in the Arsenal team 4 years. Game's like playing for Seville, respectfully. They're awful. And they've not been good the whole time he was there. Like, he played 4 games in Milan. Like, he didn't
Yeah.
get a chance there. So it's like one of those things where like I said to you like many times, like, Buadi is the talent. I think he's one of the best young talents in the world because of the potential I see and where you can mold him. But I still think, like, I think Buadi and Kobe Madu in many ways are quite similar. And I just think the problem is the build for Buadi's better. I think Buadi's quicker, which I think is a
Mhm.
problem on Kobe. And I think Buadi's a little bit better going forward, which I think would probably be something that we would look at a bit more, because we're going to have a lot of the ball. And a lot of elite teams are just generally going to have a lot more of the ball than United do anyway. And this is the whole issue. Like,
Yeah.
how can Kobe develop into an attacking midfield talent when the whole time he's been at United, they're playing this like hoofball, Bruno kick it 60 yards. And I don't think that helps him. So I don't know. It's one of them things where, if he was cheap, he would never be cheap though, will he? But it
No.
was offer. It's the same thing with Mount. Like, I always thought Mount was a good player, but United have ruined him. And now everyone thinks he's awful. And I'm like, he was good at Chelsea.
See, I was a similar boat with him, to be honest. I was like, he's never gonna be top level. And when people said, "Oh yeah, he's excellent," I just thought, yeah, he'll do a job. He'll be in a squad. He'll be fine. Like, but he's never gonna be that top of the heap, which is why I never even suggested that we go for him when he was
I,
obviously
I think
available.
I think a team. I think if Mount did
He's
win
a
the
funny though player because he's like he plays as a false nine. He like and prior to that, like as a 10, but then like as a winger, but like as a like wing fielder type player. Like I do wonder. Do you think, like, thinking about our squad for Rice and Zubimendi, if we are going to go in the market, and I wouldn't say this January we'd go in the market for that position, but if we were going to go in the market over the next 2 windows, do we get someone that is actually a specialist then? Because otherwise, are we in a position where, you know, like when we lost Odegaard and we had to kind of change to a 4-4-2, are we in a position then where, oh, Rice is out or Zubimendi's out? We got to change the whole system. And yes, we could probably get in a player like a Buadi that has real high upside. But for now, does that kind of cause problems within the system and tactically? So should we actually be going? Because we've never had that conversation. We've both always gone, actually, we want a young player. We probably want someone a little bit more physical, able to run in midfield. But we've never really talked about the specialist side. And maybe that's because there isn't anyone. Don't know.
Yeah, it's really I've always said I've always been of the opinion that unless Arsenal sell a major asset, I'm really calm at the moment after last season with the
Mm-hmm.
transfer window of Arsenal just buying young, really like the best young, not like any young talents, but the best young talents out there, and then just
Yeah.
having that pathway for them because I don't think we're in a rush like some Arsenal fans may make out like we need a left winger now. I don't personally believe that we're in that sort of a rush. Only when it comes to injuries, which is why I want young players to come in anyway because they can develop under that and get good game time.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys are the best talents we're talking about. I saw that today we were linked to Musakatis, who plays for Olympiacos, who I do know like a lot. I've watched a lot of him. Also signed him an FM. And he's more of like a 10-8 hybrid. He's more of like that creative one, which is a bit weird to me because it's like, why do we keep looking at 10s? That I know they're like 8-10 hybrids, but it's the same with Caritas as well, who plays for Genk. Like he's more of like a 10 winger. I was like, don't we have enough of these guys? Like we've got like Dauman, Waneri, Eze, Odegaard. You know, we've got the Ecuadorian twins coming in. Like surely we've got
Yep.
enough like 10s, the quote unquote 8/10s. And maybe we should look a bit more at like 6/8s
Do you think, like,
or just
potentially
8s.
financially as well, it might be something to do with that? That as someone in that kind of attacking mold, you can probably shift for a lot more later on rather than like
Yeah,
a defender, because defenders, even at their peak, don't really go for
I,
huge
I
money.
I would agree with that. I will say that like we did. I think that might have been the sort of thinking around Fabio Vieira. That hasn't quite worked
Yeah.
out. But I do also, yeah. Like I think a lot of that. Like I always think when Arsenal sign these youngsters that we're like I'm looking at like where do they fit in the squad? Because if Arsenal spend 20 mil on a player, we know that oh that's it, he's in the team. Like we know what Arsenal are like as a club.
Yeah.
We're not a City, we're not a Chelsea that spend 20 mil on players that don't get anywhere near the team. But maybe we are going to move into a system of that to make more money. Maybe we sign these guys for 20 mil, loan them out for a few years and sell them for 40, which if they do well, I think could work. Like, especially people like
Yeah.
Musakatis and Caritas. They are some of the best young European talents out there. I just think in terms of like what I want from a midfielder, if Arsenal buy one in January, and it was so funny. Just a quick point on this. It's like
Wenger wouldn't agree. You can never have enough tens as the Arsenal way. That's so true.
yeah, we're just getting. Well, I
Oh,
guess if they
God.
could play in multiple positions, but
Yeah.
it's so funny because I saw a tweet yet again, another random report a couple of weeks ago, probably about a week ago now, and it came out saying it might have been by bench. It was by some like big person, and it came out saying that Arsenal were not concerned about the midfield. They think it's fine and might go to the summer with it. And then there was a report about 3 or 2 days ago by someone else. And they said the complete opposite and said that Arsenal are actually really worried about the midfield, and that is the position they're looking to buy, which makes the most sense if anyone watches Arsenal's
Yeah.
team and goes, well, who's playing? They're the same guys every week. You know, we haven't got, they don't want to play any DM. So, like, obviously, like, that's why I was confused by the first point. I actually think we are going to try and sign a midfielder in Jan. I don't know if it will happen, but I've just said for years that, or for the last 3 months, I don't know, years, but if I want a midfielder, I just want someone that can cover ground
Yeah.
as the baseline, as that's the baseline. Like, obviously, you don't want them just to be able to ride around. Like, that's what I was saying to you about Mason Mount. I always loved Mason Mount because he is one of the hardest working, like runs around type of
Mm.
players all the time. And I've always liked players like that. That's why I like Conor Gallagher. Conor Gallagher, you know, the reason why Chelsea won the won the Champions League under Tuchel was because they had Conor Gallagher and Mount as like this attacking midfield pivot, and they just ran everywhere all the time, and they covered so much ground that they just suffocated teams in. They also got an easy draw, but they did help. They did help them win, and I always like. I mean, I've seen Mount live. I literally saw Mount score in front of my eyes. Like I was like on the nearly on the pitch, and he scored in front of me. So I like these players that work really hard because I think that's a baseline to anything. And then like you can develop that if they're good, but then they go to bad clubs and they both get misused at both their clubs they're at. But I think that like that's why I liked Boadi because he's actually like active and he gets across ground quite well. Like Agame does a little bit, but he's more on the ball type of like, let's close it down. But if we're talking about getting used to this more chaotic nature, where I think Arsenal need to have a backup plan to get somewhat accustomed to a game where it's going to be mental and teams are going to like try and make it chaotic. Because as much as you want to control it, there's only so much we can do. And if every team is going to play like this, it's going to like when we play Bournemouth away at their place this season, that is going to be a mental game. And we are just going to have to face the facts yet again that we are going to have to cover a lot of ground. And that's where I would like a player that just covers a lot of ground, is a good tackler, someone like Boadi. But so when I look at midfielders, that's the kind of thing I look for. I don't think they need to like they could get a specialist in many ways, but it just needs to be someone that they're not going to be. The problem is getting a backup for Rice. No one's going to be as good as Rice because no one's 6'2" and just runs around the pitch like he does and as big as he is. Like he's a big guy.
True.
Like I don't know any footballers like that. There's people that cover the same sort of areas. Like it's funny, the person that's probably one of the most similar players to right, maybe not like similar, but at least in
You gonna
like
say?
general role is like Pedri in a sense.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say like a Vitinha, like that kind of like.
Yeah, kind of like that sort of type. And these guys are like small players that are nimble, dribbler types. And obviously Rice is like that, but he's not small. He's a massive dude. He's
Massive.
very physical. So maybe getting like a small, nimble guy in, but obviously the whole Prem and like that worries it. And I know
Yep.
if we buy someone in January, you want them to the only reason why you make a sign in January is because you want them to obviously contribute for the next 6 months, because if not, you just do it in the summer for probably cheaper. So we need someone that is going to be at that physical level in January to compete. Now, I have done a lot of research on Boadi, and we spoke about it before, but I actually think physically he'll be fine in the Prem. I actually think that's one of the things I don't worry about him as much as
It's interesting because he's
some of the other
got quite
things.
like a wiry frame, hasn't he? Like he's tall, but
Yeah.
he's not exactly like a big
But
guy with it.
but that was my big worry about Ekitike coming into this league, because I was like, look,
Mhm.
I think Ekitike is an incredible dribbler, incredible on the ball. He's going to pick up the ball in this left half channel, and it's going to really help Gakpo or whoever plays on the left to come inside, which it has. But I really did worry about if he gets the ball in his feet, is he just going to get shoulder barged in the back and just lose it? Which is actually the same worry we had about Šeško, and it has happened a lot with Šeško. If anyone watches Šeško for United, like it's quite evident that when he gets the ball, even in an aerial duel, he has a free header who's going to head it, and someone just pushes him or like will nudge him, and that's not a foul in England, which he probably would have get in the Bundesliga, and then that's it, he's lost the ball. But Ekitike has actually been really, really resilient and really
Yeah.
really surprised me in terms of physically, like how he's been able to keep up. So I like with Boadi, like I think he will be able to do a decent amount. It's because he's such a good dribbler that like it should be fine. Like in tight areas, he's really, really good. So as long as he can keep the ball and keep on his feet with good balance, and it should be okay. I'm not like I haven't even really done my transfer like look yet for January. Every January, even the last two that Arsenal signed no one in, I've done a lot of transfer videos in the end because there's lots of news that comes out, and I actually think Arsenal will do business this window. So I think there's going to be more. So I need to get on that a bit and start looking at midfielders because I'm not accustomed at the moment. But I don't know, like that's why like I don't mind an Agame, but I would rather just get an Ogume in like in the summer. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
if we have to, if there's no other options and he's 25 mil, I'm obviously not going to be like, nah, like just get him in. We need the squad. I'm always a guy that's like
Could
more
we do a
squad players.
loan? Could we do like a loan for an experienced player build if needed?
Well, we do have both of our loans available for once. So
But
that
it's funny
it's
because
definitely a
I don't
suggestion.
really like going to a loan, but nevertheless, it could be an option, can it? Like,
Imagine
I
we
don't know.
load someone from like someone lower in the Prem, and then we win the Prem, and then like, it's like Nathan Dyer in it. Like he went from like Swansea
Yeah.
on loan to Leicester, wins the league, and it goes back to Swansea in the Championship. Like, so what's happening here then? Just won the Prem.
Well, let's go through some comments a minute because we've been going. Big up to Verge, Yembele's here. Yem is saying it will be loans. And then he's put a little caveat, if we can find one. And I think that's the problem, isn't it? I don't know if you just tuned in, Yem, but the problem we were saying is that Zubimendi and Rice have just got such specific roles in our team, and it's so hard to find someone that can actually do what they do in our team. And we can find these younger players who've got, high upside, but is there anyone who actually can step in and do what Zubimendi's doing? Because like we said about it in our predicted 11s for Wolves, we both said that Zubi can't be playing because he played the 90 in Belgium. There's no way they're going to play him again. And then lo and behold, he's back in again. Like, Arteta's obviously got a trust issue right now with anyone stepping in and doing that role of
he should never have played. And he wasn't even, honestly, watching the game, there was no point for Zubimendi to be in that pitch.
Yeah.
He did nothing. He was so tired. And we had so much of the ball. Why bother? It was pointless. Oh,
love how that's just started. We'll come on to Wolves in a bit. Evening, just Tom. I hope you're well, mate. It's been a little while. And I mean, well, let's go through this. So 610 saying my heart is on Buadi, like, and fair play, I do understand. Whereas Satish is saying overhyped footballer. This is in reference to Kobe Mainu. He should go to Germany, Italy, or Spain. He's too slow. Ooh, for a Premier League side, that's interesting. I wonder if for Kobe, a loan actually would be a good thing.
Yeah.
Because I think get out of that club, play some football, and then by then Amarin might be out, because I think a lot of it is actually directed to him in particular, not the lack of playing time. Like in terms of you're not playing a system where I'm ever going to play. You're not giving me any opportunities. Like, and then you're comparing me to these players who are a complete different mold. Like you're not developing me. You're not doing me any favors. So I wonder if he goes out on loan, comes back, it might be a good way of him getting back in a team where if they do play a different system, then I think he'd play more. But it just doesn't seem to be like a plan or a pathway for him at all.
Exactly. I'm never going to write off a 20-year-old midfielder. Like the thing is, like I genuinely, like, I don't know what level in the Prem he could be competitive at consistently, but he's super, super young, and he literally started for England in the Euros and was pretty good. So it's not like, like it's not like he's bad. Like, and that was when he was a child. Like he's 20. Like he could literally go to Palace, be their best midfielder, like with Wharton, and then go up again and like to a better club. Like. Yeah. I mean, like, it's like with Scott McTominay, like you got just for Serie A, he won MVP in the Serie A. And anyone who watches the Serie A will tell you he's just a moments player, and he is fundamentally. His actual performances are kind of mid, but he just turns up when it matters. But that's what it is. I really hate when like I do this all the time as well, so it's my fault as well. But when people talk about ceilings of players, like obviously, like we talk about Buadi, and the reason I like him is because I think he has this amazing ceiling because I can see the attributes that can be developed. But sometimes I would say like there is no way that at 24 years old anyone thought Salah had a good ceiling, or even now people like in his whole career probably people go like, well, Salah's not got that, he's only good at these two things, let's say, but because he's enhanced them so well, it doesn't matter. Like he's become an incredible footballer, and he's like one of the Premier League's greats now. Like, and I think sometimes it's like it doesn't matter. Like Saka is someone that's good at everything, but sometimes if he was just good at one thing, I think we'd still get a good work out of him.
Yeah, 100%. 610 cent. If we buy another defender like Xhaka, Mars Luskeri has to be moved to midfield full time. Now, I would agree with this if we didn't have this whole Ben White thing as well. Because I look and I think, well, if we were buying like a more left side prominent player, possibly, and I would argue, I would agree with it. But with the problems we've got with Ben White as well, I wonder if that would signal Mosquera is going to be started to shift out wider, and then Xhaka is going to be like a centre back type player, and then you start playing him wide at times if you need to give him minutes and don't trust him as much, don't want to play him that central role. But I just think for the current injury crisis, like I don't know. But yeah, if you got like a proper specialist left back, then that would be curtains for Miles there. I think that really, that really
Yeah,
signals that he'd move into
like
midfield.
Brown. We've been linked to Nathaniel Brown from Frankfurt quite a
Yeah.
lot. I do think the Miles thing is interesting because I was speaking to some other people who are big Arsenal fans, and they kind of said to me that like they don't think Arsenal should sign a midfielder because they should just move Miles into that position and that should be the goal. But they just don't like. I get some of it is to do with injuries and stuff, but I don't particularly understand what we're doing. I don't really get what we're doing with Ethan either at the moment. But I
Mhm.
understand what we're doing with Ethan, but I don't know why he hasn't played as much. With Miles, I just
Yep.
don't really get what the pathway is. Like he's playing like by the way, like him not playing against Wolves, I saw a lot of people like freaking out about it. But then when one like obviously Hincapié actually played left back and played Timber centre back before Ben White got injured. But also I didn't mind Timber in left back because I've said to you hundreds of times that you cannot play Miles when Zubimendi and Rice play. And when I
Yep.
saw Rice and Zubimendi play, and I was like, wow, well then it makes
Yeah,
sense.
that makes sense.
And I actually think Miles was really good against Wolves. I actually think he's really good. I think he's one of his better games. I thought he was actually one of our best players. But I just think with him, it's like he just has to keep filling in for left back because of these injuries, whatever it is, if it's the inverting role or the normal role. So is
Hmm.
that going to limit his midfield future if he has to keep doing it? Maybe like if he does, we did just sign a Nathaniel Brown, who won't be cheap, by the way. It'd be like 40, 50. I would imagine the same amount of price as all the other Frankfurt players and defenders ever. Maybe a bit cheap because he's a defender. But like, if we get him in, is he finally then just going to go, okay, Miles, you go in midfield? Because I think Miles is more of an 8 than a 6, maybe. I just don't know if he's
Yeah.
got that
Who
sort of passing range to be a 6 in our team.
who for you has got the higher ceiling in, say, if it was in Arsenal, in that 8 role, out of Miles and Cobby? Because for me, it's Miles. By Miles.
Yeah, I guess Mars. I just haven't really watched Cobby like that because he hasn't played in like
That's
a
true.
year, so I can't really talk like too much about Cobby. And also, Mars understands our system, I would imagine, a lot more. Um, I think also like Cobby's a bit more of a right-sided player,
That's true.
and he's a bit more of a left. But I do think they could play on either side. I don't know. I think Miles would make more sense, obviously, just for that. But then that means we're not going to get a Buedi in a while. So I don't know what we're
Mm.
doing. I don't really get this whole Mars thing. I don't. Maybe they will just buy a left back in. This is something I haven't really
So what you're
thought
saying
about.
is he's a troublemaker.
I haven't really thought
Mars
about this until
Skelly is
now, but
Arsenal's troublemaker.
there was a. I always kind of thought Arsenal would just sign a midfielder, but there's actually a real high possibility we do just buy a left back slash centre back. Well, Nathaniel Bryan isn't really. He is just like a left back, kind of like wing back type of player. If that's the guy we want, I've seen like hundreds of links to him.
Hmm.
If we do get, maybe we do just get a guy like that in. I can't imagine that happening in Jan though, because just like Frankfurt on Bundesliga and whatever. Like, I can't imagine giving up. We know what their like Bundesliga teams are like halfway through the season. I
Hmm.
just, but if let's say if we get a left back and like him, then maybe like you move Miles into midfield and then you don't even bother because maybe Bioetti's 1 too expensive, 2 already got a PSG deal agreed, 3 like just not going to
Yeah.
come. Like maybe that's the sort of. It's probably a situation where they're probably trying to get Buedi in, and if they don't get him, they might pivot to a left back and then move
Yeah. What's
Miles
the
in
next
there,
plan?
which is kind of weird. But I don't know. I don't mind us buying another defender. I know we're going to get memed for it, but like the
I
injuries
was
are
going to
there.
say, I mean, Arteta could quite honestly look at it and go, right, we need a midfielder. We need a midfielder, but I really want to buy another defender. So if I buy another defender, then Mars can move into midfield. So I get what I want. We get what we need. Sorted.
I do think Mark Gahey will be someone we look at because, I mean,
Mm,
you could technically buy him in Jan, maybe for about 20-25 mil. There's no way that we're not going to throw our hat in the circle. Probably not going to get it. He's probably too far down the line on a pre-contract with Real Madrid or Bayern, which is actually funny because recently Liverpool have been linked heavily to Jeremy Jacquet.
yeah.
And the Gay talk has actually calmed down, which makes me think that he's basically going to Real Madrid or Bayern on a pre-contract. I would imagine probably Real Madrid, and that's probably put them off that, so they've had to go for someone else. And then maybe that's the situation where Jeremy Jacquet goes to Liverpool, Gay goes to Real Madrid, and then we don't get either, and then we have to go and get like a Nathaniel
One
Brown,
shot
and then
game.
I mean I've
When
seen
that
we've been
first
linked to
link came out, I was like, oh,
yeah.
that's an
I mean
Arsenal signing as well. I
it
like it. I
is
like it. Mm,
yeah. I mean it's quite funny because the two people we've talked about heavily, Jeremy Jacquet got sent off in his last game, and Buadi's been sent off in his last 2 games
yeah,
in a
they did,
row.
didn't they? Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Guys,
they fit in perfectly. We love a red card.
guys, we're not Chelsea anymore. That's Chelsea
No,
now.
I mean, yeah, they've kind of taken that over, to be fair. What else have we got here in terms of comments? Guys, it's been great having loads of comments come in. Sorry that I'm not going to bring them up straight away because, as you all know, we can't just answer quickly. We never do we? We go like off on a tangent massively, but there we go. Cobby needs to be in a midfield 3, but rather play Ethan. He just isn't a Rice backup. Yeah, to be fair, that's quite true.
I agree with that.
Let's go down to Havertz 7. Daka needs to step up.
Interesting.
He's not been at the level for us this season. It feels as though he's immune to any sort of criticism. Same with Ez. Wow.
Not over here, they're not. Oh, don't worry, I've been on them all season.
Yeah, it was just quite funny because we're quite opposite in, well, especially I think with the Eze one, because I think he's been, well, I mean, revolutionary is probably a bit strong, but his interpretation of the role has been quite refreshing in a way. And we've been on a really good run of form. I think this season is probably the best we've ever done without Odegaard. And no surprises when we've just got a very good player. Like, regardless of what you think of like Eze this season and how he does that role, like he is just quality. He's just got, his on the ball presence is just unreal. But I don't know. I think Saka does need to do more, like output wise, he needs to do more. I think looking at like Madueke and the way that he takes on his fullback, sometimes I think, I know Bukayo Saka can do that. I know he can do it. But I think sometimes maybe it's what he's being asked to do. And also, like, his game intelligence is so high. Like, his IQ is so high that he understands when he should be doing that and when he shouldn't. And I guess if you just look at, like, even looking at his numbers this season, you take out like goals and assists, you just go, well, actually, he is just incredible. And where he creates from out wide is unreal. Like his back post cross. I had a chat with one of the dads at my son's football training, and he's not an Arsenal fan. He's like, God, that's like a cheat code. That back post cross is, and I was like, yeah, that's like Bukayo can do that at any time in a match. Like we're used to that because we watch them constantly. I just think there's probably like higher levels for Bukayo, but he had injury early in the season. He had like a huge injury last season. I think it's just a case of just needs time. And if this is Bukayo Saka at a bad period, still being, by far our best player against Wolves, like I'm all good with that. If that's his flaw, cool, that's fine. But I don't know how you feel about it anyway, because I know you're probably a bit more critical of him than I have been.
Well, I mean, anyone who knows me, I'm critical about anyone in the moment when I think it's applicable. But it is weird saying this now after he did genuinely just carry us against Wolves. Without him, we would not have won that game at all. It's weird because I feel like I definitely agree with the fact that Saka has to step up in terms of output. Like, I don't think his output's been good enough. Like, fundamentally, he has played, if not more than Trossard, maybe more than him and anyone else in that forward line. And, he doesn't have as big, he's about the same output as Eze. But I will say, like, this is the thing, like, his best games always come in games he's not got output in. It's been the same for years. I remember that Leicester game a couple of years ago, we won 4-2. He was outstanding. He created like 11 chances and they didn't get a goal or assist. Wolves, technically, he didn't get a goal and assist. He was fantastic in that game, even though obviously he created both of the goals. Well, the first one's whatever, but the second goal he created. And then Fulham this season was one of his best performances. He didn't get a goal assist. There's another one as well. I can't remember. There's 3 this season that his best performances, and he didn't get goals. Sunderland, it was one of his best performances, but he did get a goal in that. I can't remember. There's another one as well where he didn't get a goal and assist. He was fantastic. But I would say, like, it's really
no
weird.
European game.
No, I think it was a league game. I can't remember what it was exactly, but I think it's weird because Like, when you actually look at his goals consistently, he actually does still score, like, a decent amount. Like, I know it's not, like,
Mhm.
a huge amount, but he's still got 9 goal contributions this season. You know, he's still got 7 and 21, which is 1 in 3 in goals. I think that's still pretty good. Like, it's not Saka levels that we know he can get to, which I think is a fair criticism. Um, I do think broadly the attack has been not working most of the season. I still think there's a
Yeah.
lot of fluidity struggles. I think there's a lot of struggles with players coming in and out. I think new players coming into the team. This was always going to happen. I don't. I'm not too worried about that sort of things. Like, I want it to be fixed, of course, but I expected that. I think Saka in certain games has to step up, but I think that every time I kind of ask questions about Saka, he kind of does to an extent. Like, there's some games where we play like Villa, like he was all right against Villa. Like, I do think he was actually one of our better players, but he weren't amazing. I get that. There's obviously other games like he isn't fantastic, but I think recently, especially, he stepped up when we've needed it quite a lot. Just like thinking about the last like 4 or 5 games that we've played, he's been really, really good in them. So I think he's getting to that level. The injuries definitely hurt that. I would say with Ezra, it's just a weird one because I've been critical of him all season. I have always given him the benefit of the doubt that he doesn't understand the system, and he was going to take time to learn the system because like the thing is he knows the players that it's so different to Gyökeres because Gyökeres doesn't really know the league or the system. Eze knows the league, so he has a little bit of an advantage, and I think that's when you've seen him really come alive in some games. But before that Spurs game, I was hypercritical of his finishing. I thought like we were getting him in the situations where we
I
wanted him
remember.
where we wanted him to shoot from outside the box, and he wasn't scoring. And when Arteta is setting up this tactic, he goes in there, he goes in his tactics board, he goes, right, Eze, I want to get you in these positions because that's where you score goals. And when Eze is consistently missing shots there, that's not Arteta's fault. People will play, it's not his fault. Like, that is his job to get in there. And Eze was having fully aware enough shots. He was having more shots a game. And that Spurs game obviously blew up. But even after that, I think the whole Eze thing really, really annoys me because you've got tacticos on Twitter keep going that if Arsenal want to fix their attack, they need to play him in left wing because it's yes, I get that. I've said this multiple times that the future of Eze is in left wing for Arsenal, but it's not worked. He's not good there, and it's quite hard to get someone to learn the system when we've got a game every 3 days and we're in the middle of a December period and we're shoving him in when we have left wing options. I don't want to force
Yeah,
him
yeah.
in now Odegaard's back. Like in Feb, when the schedule's a bit lighter and we don't have as many games, then you can probably start engaging stuff like that. You know, Jan, remember we always do the sort of stuff in Jan and we started getting people in when we had that winter break. But right now,
Mhm.
we just can't have the time to be like, oh, okay, let's start up a new complete system. It's going to be little tweaks and little small things. So I don't like this whole like Eze has to play left wing. If Eze doesn't play left wing against Everton, I don't agree. I personally don't agree. I think Leandro Trossard has been our most consistent forward in the entire team
100%.
this season, and to not even off the bench against Wolves, I thought Leandro Trossard was miles clear than most people on the pitch. I thought he was fantastic again. Like his passing is so we had no shots on target until the 68th minute. Trossard came on, he puts a pass straight into Rice. Rice has a shot on target, and then he puts a fantastic ball into Gyökeres, and that's Gyökeres' only shot of the game. No one even passed
Yep.
it to Gyökeres the whole time. So I look at that sort of stuff and I'm like, Trossard has to play for me. He understands it better. He has, I think as well, Trossard, I'm not saying he works harder than Eze because it's different things, but Eze's his final third footballer. We all knew that coming in. We know he's not going to be a big presser. He tries his best, I will say, but he's not got the biggest engine on him. Trossard works incredibly, incredibly hard at the moment. He is the real engine in this team a lot of the time. He is also the real mentality monster in this team. You see him always, the excitement he gets when we score, the excitement that we get from tackling back. He really is right now. Like Trossard is at the top of his game. And he's been at the club a lot longer. He gets it. He really understands. This might be his last year at the club. I feel like this is
Mhm.
something that we shouldn't take for granted that Trossard's playing this well, and he's not going to play this well forever. He's in his 30s. So let's just play him for now, and when we have fit players, and then we can rotate. And I completely agree that I don't think Eze has been amazing, but I'm not that surprised. He is this final third player. He's not an Odegaard, and even then, I think that we still broadly have issues with Odegaard's in the team as well. So, but I do agree with the sentiment overall, and I think every single attacker, I would say, barring Trossard, has some sort of accountability this season. I don't think any of them have been particularly amazing, other than Trossard, I would say.
Yeah. And I think, to be honest, in our system, Eze would probably be best served if he, and this is going to sound crazy, because we've just talked about the kind of job Rice does, but playing in Rice's position, that might give him an opportunity because it's a very different way of pressing from that spot rather than the left wing spot. And also defensively, like it's a bit different. I think that would be a bit more like home for him in that position, being kind of more surrounded rather than being isolated out on the side. And comparing kind of Trossard to Eze, look at unfortunately what happened when he completely lost Matty Cash. And I just think it's just frustrating. Like, I think Trossard hasn't got enough love this season. I said on the Cannon podcast that you said mentality monster. And I referenced this one part when he had come on the pitch and he is demanding better from the players from missed passes. Like he's screaming at them. And I thought that's so interesting because, you know, like you get certain players like Martinelli, I find he's the kind of player that will give the, don't worry, yeah, no worries, lads. The kind of the clap, the hands up, the, oh, yeah, we'll go again. Trossard isn't that character. Trossard's like, that's not good enough. Like, he's just going to say it outright. There's no, like, sugarcoating anything with him. And the difference between Eze and Trossard could be, and I'm not saying it like, you know, definitely is, Trossard might be looking at it. You said it could be his last season. He might be looking at it going, I've come second multiple times. I've got to a Champions League semi-final. I've come up short every single time. This year's not that. That's not happening. And I'm taking it upon myself to dragging us across the line. Whereas I think Eze, and I'm not saying, you know, he doesn't want to win. He's got a taste for winning. He won a cup with Crystal Palace. He's an Arsenal lad at heart. So he obviously wants it. But there is that thing of, you know, like when a team does get second, and quite often the next year, like say a runner-up in Champions League, like Liverpool didn't win the Champions League, and then the next year or like the year after, they are going for it. There's something to be said about feeling that rejection and feeling that loss and that hurt. And I don't know if Eze at the moment really gets that. Like maybe if it happened this year, then you see a different type of Eze where he's like, that's not happening again. I'm not doing that again. I'm not going through that again. But
I think it's
yeah.
I think a lot of that is down to the mentality of the specific players. Like I don't even know if it's like based. I think Trossard, like knowing what he's like and like interviews and how people speak about him, this season when you watch him play, he is angry. He is angry all
Yeah.
the time. He plays with anger, but he doesn't play with uncomposed anger. He is a very intelligent player, but he just forces things to happen this season, which I've never seen from Trossard in the past. He was not a passer. He was never been known for being a good passer. He has become one of our best passers in the team. He's undeniably our best attacking passer at the moment. He has become a very good crosser, nearly at the level with Saka consistently from open play. He has become a player that is like contributing to the team. The only Gyökeres plays so much better when Trossard's in the team every single time because he's the only player that actually plays in passes that he wants. Trossard also, we've been talking about how Trossard needs a Calafiori, or not needs a Calafiori, but they prefer each other as a duo.
Yeah.
I don't even. I think Trossard plays fantastic with anyone at the moment, and I think even in the game
Miles
against
coming on in
Wolves,
that game at the same time. Well, not at the same time as him, but
and they both had really good
that was a
games.
big surprise. Yeah.
I thought Miles was really good off the bench. I thought defensively he was fantastic. It was his best defensive performance by far of the season. And Trossard was just everything. The energy that he brings into the team right now, I just don't think we can't have. And like it's so funny because I always say I speak to my dad a lot about Trossard's mentality because a lot came out like last maybe January or the year before that he's a bit of a moaner and he like mopes around like the Villa when he scored against Villa at the start of last season. It's when he weren't playing and then he got started and he kind of did that celebration to be like, why am I not starting? And then he was awful
Yeah.
when he started, which is hilarious for like 3 months. But Trossard is a moaner. Arteta has said it multiple times. He moans. He gets annoyed when things don't go his way. Now, listening to David Moyes' press conference today, he said that Mikel Arteta, when he was a player, was an absolute moaner. He just complained about everything. And I was like, I already know Arteta loves Trossard, and I kind of knew they had that similar mentality, but I do really see it now, and I think it's that anger that Trossard's playing with. But I trust Trossard to play with anger because he's not stupid, if you know what I mean. Like some players
Yeah.
they get too angry and they do stupid things. Like we've had it in the past, other teams have it, and like that is a part of the game. Like that is a big thing about sports psychology and how things work. But I just don't want to like Trossard.
Vygotsky there. I love that.
And I feel like we give excuses. We'll probably like Gyökeres, like Eze, or like Odegaard. These guys have been injured, not been in the team. I know Trossard's injury wasn't like that big. It's
Hmm.
around maybe the same time as Gyökeres, maybe a week less. But he literally got injured. He came back. Oh, could only play 35 minutes against Villa. I know he scored like a tap in, but he scored. Then he comes on against Wolves, like still not fully fit, and he's like one of the best players on the pitch, at least trying to do stuff. I know there's a few touch he messed up later on and stuff, but I think overall it's more about the execution of getting us in them areas where obviously he's much better against low blocks than Martinelli, and Martinelli is like a bit of a headless chicken sometimes. But honestly, like I just think like I look at all this stuff and I'm like, in my opinion, Trossard's undroppable. You can talk about the strikers; they switch them around. I even think in some games, like I said to you last week, where if Saka's not playing well in a game, I bring him off and bring Madueke on if Madueke's on the bench.
Yeah.
Obviously, against Wolves, I saw some people say on Twitter, like, oh, he's finally learned not to take Saka off. It's like Saka was undeniably the best player on the pitch. You don't take Saka off when we're drawing 1-1 and he's the best player on the
Mm.
pitch. But if you're drawing 1-1 and Saka's putting a stinker, then you should chop it and you should
Yeah.
replace him. I think that's why Madueke's here, is he not? And it's the same with Trossard. Saying, well, if Trossard's not playing well, then don't be afraid to put Eze in. I think the biggest criticism that I have with Arteta at the moment, and I think it's fair, is that he just plays players that based on familiarity rather than the game state.
Yeah.
Like Eze, my opinion, Eze suits different games, and Trossard suits different games, and Martinelli. And like I would say form goes a little bit above it. So if I'm like, oh, I don't know who to play, I'd pick the one that's in form a bit more, like
Yeah.
Trossard.
Yep.
But there's some games like you spoke about a minute ago, like Eze would prefer that left centre mid role. Why against Wolves he didn't just rest Zubimendi, play Rice in a six, and play Odegaard and Eze in midfield, which we thought he was going to do, and he should have done,
Or
like
even
in
Ethan.
hindsight. Yeah, even
Like,
an Ethan. Yeah.
give Ethan some minutes. That could have been a really good game for him. I suggested when halftime came, I was like, do you know what? Get Ethan on. I saw online everyone going, oh, get Martin Odegaard on, get Odegaard on. And I was looking, going, the only thing, and I think sometimes people go in too heavy on Martin Odegaard because he is very good. We've just kind of used him in a different way. And his, I don't know, like, I don't want to say his importance to the team, but the way that the play goes through him has changed, rather than like his importance has diminished, because that sounds like, we're getting him out of the door. But yeah, I just think with Ethan, he gives you that love of, like someone who's just young and just caution to the wind. I'm just going to ping the ball from here. I'm just going to make the pass that we could lose possession on. And sometimes you need that. You need that player to just almost like sounds silly, but make the wrong decision. Because if it goes right, and Eze's that kind of player, they'll sometimes they pull it off. And I don't think Eze was that bad in that first half. I know he got pulled off, but I was looking, going, Saka's head and shoulders above everyone. Then apart from him, I think, although it didn't always come off, Eze was one of the few players that was trying something to beat the block, and but it just wasn't his day. And I think, yeah, for me, we both had said Zubimendi's played a lot of minutes. Keep him off. Probably don't need him against Wolves anyway. Just play Rice and then play Eze out on the left, and then like Martin or Ethan.
And I've seen people
right.
say, to your point now, I've seen people say, well, we barely won. Maybe we did need him. But it's like I just, obviously you can say about anything, but I just think if we just tried a different midfield, it would have been better. Like Wolves weren't going to, they were trying to counter us, but I don't think that changes that much of Rice. I thought when Rice went into the six, he was fine. Like I didn't really see much difference, Zubimendi's tired. We're not even getting good Zubimendi performances because he's knackered. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I just thought, I looked at the midfield and went, that is so, like, what it should beat Wolves. When I looked at it, I went, well, that should beat Wolves. But I went, that's just so unimaginative, in my opinion. Like, that is the most boring ass
They
midfield I've ever
must be
seen.
tired as
Like
well.
Ethan as well, like you said, he's the best dribbler in tight areas that we have. He's better than Eze, he's better than Odegaard, and he runs at players. That's actually good against low blocks. Like in
Mhm.
hypothetical, might not work in moments, and he actually shoots loads. I know Eze does, but Eze, needs loads of room and whatever. And he's not really good at these snapshots as much. I know we talked
Yep.
about last time when Harry's shooting, but I still think he's a little bit better than Eze in that role. But yeah, I don't know. Like it was just a mess all round, and that's why like obviously we talk about it a bit, but like obviously the striker will be a big talking point. But there was just so much wrong with how we played in the team that were playing that I was like, I don't know. There's so many players here that just awful at the time. What are they
Yeah.
doing? Like Ethan's got to play more. I've actually that is unacceptable, really.
I mean, that match, right? I was angry still when we scored at the end. Like I was still livid because it was like, oh, we've conceded again towards the end and stuff. And the performance was so bad that when it went in, there wasn't like relief or anything. It was just like, yeah, okay, all right, okay. And then I had to go on the instant reaction on the cannon pod. And I think George could sense like he was a little bit wound up at the time. So he was like, well, just take a couple of minutes and stuff. And then he even got me to do a breathing exercise when we went live because I think he could sense that you're still not calm yet. But
When we conceded, I literally was watching that. And I went, the whole like 3 minutes before we conceded, I was like, we deserve to concede. I was literally sitting there going, like, we deserve to concede. And then when they scored, I was like, yeah, that they deserved that because of how we're
yeah,
playing. I was like, well, what this team are doing, and it's the same 90th minute, problems that we keep having apparently.
yeah. Someone said, oh, I put out a video saying same old story. No, it's not. There's a pattern of emerging here. I mean, I hope it's not. I hope it's just coincidence. But when it happens that many times, you have to ask the
Oh, where's
questions.
Gabriel? Please come back.
Oh, I know, mate. Like, apparently he's closest to coming back now, isn't he? So,
But he's not gonna beat. Oh, I'm so worried about tomorrow, man.
oh, don't do that. I mean, I was that wound up, right? I finished the Cannon podcast. I sat down, and I'm going to blame James Bayless here. So I sat down. I was like, I'm going to have a cup of tea. It's all good. In fact, my fiance, dear of her, the lovely woman she is, she went and got me a beer because she knew that she's like, just have a drink, just chill. It's all right. And I sat down. I started to calm down after talking things through with George, and he's quite a logical person. And then I put on YouTube, and Gooniverse comes on. So James is on the Gooniverse, and it got me wound up again, hearing him talking about the incidents and things. And I had to then go back on. I was like, right, I'm putting out my own video now. I'm that wound up. So I had got myself all in a state again. So there we go. That match was.
Should we go through our teams for Everton, but then talk about the players and then preview it as well in the time? I think that makes sense
We
because
can do that.
there's certainly some players that I want to have a quick word on.
Oh, okay. So Everton, David Raya in goal.
Have you seen our record against Everton, by the way, at their stadium?
No.
We've
Well,
won
not that new
one
stadium.
in the last 7 games there in the league. Yeah.
Is that true? Oh, God, yeah, it must be.
And the only win we got was on that corner goal that Trossard scored. We won 1-0. Yeah, I just think I can't lie. We never win it. That was at Goodison though, and we're not playing at Goodison. So
Yeah, we're not playing at Goodison. I do want to go to this new stadium. I need to make the trip up there.
It's on the docks, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it looks really nice. Like you just. I mean, the atmosphere won't be the same. It just won't be the same as Goodison, but I do want to go to it. All right, let's go for the team. The defense is going to be interesting. So we're in agreement that you're not putting Kepa in.
No, I don't. Yeah. Even though Raya's been really good, but the guy needs to learn how to control tempo and pressure a little bit more instead of just. I don't know because Arteta said it's not.
And his passing's been really good recently as well. So I don't understand
His
Like he,
passing is good. It's just his decision making of making the
mm,
passes is the poor thing. Like they actually like always like to where Gyökeres is. He's just not going to win a header. So it's just pointless, isn't
don't
it? It's
bother.
like
Um, Timber right back now. I'm guessing he's coming back and he's going to be fully fit, so he should be right.
I want to see like because Arteta keeps going on. Like obviously, I get it so hard. We play a game every 3 days, but we've had a week off now. I want to see what
Mm,
happened. Like, is there a better performance? Because we have been poor the last like 5 league games. I can't like since Tottenham we've been
yeah,
poor. So we need to just like I just want the performance to be a lot better. Obviously, I want to win, but the performance needs to just be a lot better than what we saw against Wolves and
my
Villa.
concern is that it's even more now that you've just said about the record against Everton, but away, like we went for it before. I brought up the graphic, didn't I, about away teams and the inability to win, essentially. So I do worry. I look every week now and I go, how many of the away teams have actually won? And it's minimal. Like it's crazy. So even from that, I thought I do. We can't play as bad as Wolves. That's like impossible. Like that was just awful. Like we could lose. Like that's very,
Well,
that's not out of the
Everton
realms of
will
possibility. But
come at us a bit, so we will have a bit more space. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's just 8 p.m. late kickoff before Christmas. It's just not a great time. And it would have been on the Sunday in the day, but we had to move it. And like
yeah,
these things do matter. Like people don't really talk about them. But like the fee, I always feel like the away games at night are just so much tougher than away games in the day. I know we lost to Villa in the day, but like it's
yeah.
just I don't know. It's so weird. But apparently this pitch is wider than Goodison because Goodison is
Oh
quite a
really?
narrow pitch. Um,
Ah, that's
which might make
interesting.
sense why we struggled there. But I don't know.
Mm,
I just got so many bad memories of Everton of playing away to Everton. I remember when Damari Gray scored a banger in the last minute because we threw away that game. I was at uni. I was in my uni kitchen. There was like 20 people in there, and I literally there was like some kitchen like thing on the side. I slammed it into the wall and walked out, went into my room, and then no one spoke to me for like the rest of the day. I was so angry because we were just so much better than them. We just kept missing chance after chance. That's when Eddie missed like that header from like a
yeah.
yard. And then they scored some stupid equaliser. I can't remember. And then I just remember the banger they scored in the last minute. I was so angry. And I was like, so I just got awful memories of playing Everton, home and away, to be honest. I just don't like playing this team. So I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, they do play a little bit of a different brand football now. So
Their
I
defence
think,
is still the same, though. It's just the same
yeah,
people.
true. We'll come on to that in a minute, I think. But I think Miles in this one will go left back, and then probably a centre back pairing of the Lieber and Hincapié.
Calafiori will play, surely.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah,
It's because you suspect. That is also why I think the Wolves game was awful because we just had no Calafiori. And yeah, again, we just don't really know how to attack a low
yeah,
block
because you were
without him.
suspended.
Yeah,
Oh,
Miles is not playing respectfully. I can't imagine it'll be Hincapié, Calafiori, Saliba,
did we
Timber.
play a Calafiori centre back though? Miles, like, there's not something that I've wanted at all. But I'm looking at it now and going, Miles is one of our best performing players against Wolves. He needs some minutes now. Hincapié, I mean, maybe at fault is a bit harsh, but he was a bit of the reason why we conceded against Wolves. It's not a very nice place to go. I mean, it's an
Oh,
option.
I
At least
I
we've got
think
one option in
I
defence.
think Hincapié has to start because you want to build a connection between him and Saliba. You don't want to keep chopping changing because that would just get even. Especially if Calafiori
Mm,
is our long-term left back. I'm not really for him playing centre back. I think it's just a mess. Also, Calafiori in
yep.
an attacking sense is like the entire attack a lot of the time. And I think we're going to look better with him just in the team. And he's had a like long rest because he didn't even play much in midweek. So he will be up around to go. Calafiori start left back. I don't think Hincapié's been anywhere near as bad as what people have been making out to be, but
Oh, no, no.
he's made some really big individual mistakes in the last moments of the game, which have cost us, which I get why people like have a worry. And I think there's a concentration problem maybe late on where I want to talk about him. But there's a lot of players that I think also like a part of that as well. It's like panicky defense. So what I would do is play just start him for the game, and then hopefully if we'll win it in
And
the
take him
80th
off.
minute, just take him off. Yeah, so then we don't have to worry about it and then bring Miles on, like something like that. But I would imagine it'll be Saliba, Hincapié, Calafiori, and Timber. I can't imagine unless there's an injury. If they're fit, they're all starting, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that was. If you're looking at what Arteta's going to do, I would. Yeah, that's probably what he's going to do. But having said that, lately I'm like, what are you doing? I don't know. Midfield, I think Zabi's going to have to play because that's what we do now.
Well, it's interesting. He hasn't trained all week, but I would
Yeah,
imagine he would still play. But hopefully he's had like rest. Hopefully he's been at home playing like Fortnite or something, or any other games he wants to play. Hopefully he's just chilled all week and we haven't had to worry. And then he
he's just
can,
been playing chess,
because I
playing battle chess online.
he had like, it's actually crazy. Like it's only been a week off, but like it is actually a big difference, I think, for some of these players. So, I mean, also
And for
Zubimendi
him,
came
he's
off.
been used heavily, and in our league, like it can't be understated, like how physically demanding it is for him in particular. I think he's had such a big transition.
Well, his
Playing that role.
performances have dropped off purely just because he's tired.
Mm.
Like you can see that he is tired, and it's cool. And it's the same with Rice. Like the performances in the midfield, everyone's like, "Oh, what's going on?" It's because they're just tired. They play all the
Yeah,
time. So I'm
shattered.
hoping with the Everton game, it's a week off. I'm hoping low key for the Palace game, we just. I don't know. I know the whole everyone. People are like, "Oh, we don't want to rotate 'cause it's the cup." I get that. I get not throwing it away, but I can't imagine Palace are going to play like a super strong team with the amount of games that they've playing yesterday and then playing tomorrow and then playing against
Mm-hmm.
us on Tuesday. Like, I'm probably going to see my boy Uche in there, my goat. And like that's cool and stuff. So I can't imagine they're gonna play many players. Also, by the way, Uche is a fantastic midfielder. That guy, oh FM, what a guy for me. He's absolute beast. What a player. I know the whole Palace team so well. I know all the players.
That's so funny. Does Eze start in this game? I don't think this one. I don't think I would start him. But again, against Wolves, like I think he should have started. But probably not. No, it's just so.
We did start against Wolves. So
Yeah, I know, but not in the system that he played. Ironically, just so frustrating. But
I don't think he should play. No, I think he can come on. If he starts, he starts. But I would imagine it's a tough away game. At a place we don't really get results, he'll probably go for his tried and trusted midfield of Rice, Mendy, Odegaard. I would imagine to get us a lot of control in the game, because it is going to be a tougher time to get control. This is why I was like, why is Mendy starting against Wolves? We're going to have the ball anyway. Against Everton, it's not a guarantee. Eze might start left wing. I find it. I mean, he might start left wing. It's good between Eze and Trossard. I don't think he's going to play Martinelli against an Everton.
No.
So it'll be between them two. I don't know. I don't know what he
I
thinks.
think it has to. For me, it has to be Trossard out on the left.
Trossard always cooks it. He always plays well against Everton as well. Like he has had a history. Like, and I would play Trossard over him. But if he plays Eze, I wouldn't be that surprised. Or really like, I don't know.
And I
I
think
want
the other
Trossard to
thing
play,
is,
but I don't care.
for me, I mean, Saka starts. He has to. He dragged us across the line against Wolves. And plus, it's like None. It's really harsh because he had fantastic game in Europe as well. But you're at a top club and Saka's a star boy, so it's as simple as that, really. However, at the top of the pitch, and I hate that I'm going to say this, I think this is a massive moment for Victor Gyökeres. I think Arteta will play him, and I don't mind it too much if Trossard's playing, because they seem to be building up like some kind of combination and connection. But and Everton will play a higher line than Wolves. So I think it's probably a better suited game for him. But the pressure's on, man. I'm not saying like if he plays badly in this, like that's it, his Arsenal career's over. But I think if he doesn't, then he's pulled out of the team and we don't see him until it's a necessity kind of thing. And then he'll have to start, working his way back in the team and playing well from the bench. And maybe he's a better player as like a finisher in terms of not, finishing, but finishing games. Like, for me, I think it's a case of, there you go, mate. You've got to do it now. But for you, like, do you put Jesus in? Does
I don't think
Marino go up
I
top?
don't think Jesus is going to start for a while. I just don't think he's fit enough.
But
to
what would
start.
you do?
And I did find it interesting when you tweeted like last week, like, "Oh, he's bought Marino on for instead of Jesus. What does that?" And I was like, "Well, Marino has come on in midfield. To be fair,
Mate, I'm just kind of just.
I don't know. I think this one's also a toss up as well. Like, I think Marino suits the game way better because he is physical and he will at least. I mean, it's one of them things where, yet again, like, I do think if you play an overly physical team, you should probably go for more technical ability. But then it's like, well, Gyökeres doesn't have more technical ability than Marino. I'd argue Marino probably has more, to be honest. So then it's like physically in the air, we're probably not going to get any joy anyway. And this is the thing. We do this. This is why we lose to teams like Everton. Is because they're a team that like absolutely is obsessed with like defending corners, being dominant in the air. They always have been, they always will be with Tarkowski, Keane, or whatever they have in defense.
Mhm.
And then we go to these places and we're like, oh, it's okay. We've got really good headers of the ball. And we just think that we can roll up to these teams and just like be
That's so
fine
true.
with that. And that's the whole issue with Newcastle, because Newcastle can physically match us. And then they just go, well, no, we're just going to defend you and then score in the air against you or whatever. And it's the problem we've had all the time. Now, it's
Mm.
funny because we've actually scored a lot of like counter-attacky goals against Everton. Even like last year, our goal away at their place was a counter-attack goal. If anyone remembers the front three that we played away at Everton last year, it was Sterling, Trossard, and Waneri. That was our front three
Oh God, it's that game.
that we played.
Oh
I only realized that because
yeah.
I'm literally watching the Trossard goal on my screen. But like, yeah, like that is the team that we played there. So obviously any players that we get better, but I do think like I don't know. I think with his comments that Arteta has made about Gyökeres, I feel like he might give Gyökeres the nod. I also
Mm.
think Gyökeres has played a lot less minutes than Marino recently, and Marino does look kind of tired. And I don't know if you want to do that. And also, like we said, like Marino's good in the air, but is he going to win that many headers against Tarkowski and Keane? In my opinion, probably not. So I don't want to have him in the team because then it's like if Marino's in there, we've got to cross it high, and then we're getting in that trap again. At least if
Yep.
Gyökeres is in there, we know that we can't cross high, or I'd hope we know. Sometimes I don't know if we're figured out.
You kind of force yourself to play a different game.
I actually wish Gyökeres never scored that header in pre-season because I think the team still think he can head a ball. No. He can't head a ball, guys. Which is funny because I know he scored a header against Burnley, but it's like a yard out. But like, yeah, he can't head a ball. We all know that. Stop crossing it to his head. And it's funny because actually some of the headers that he should have scored this season and he's just missed completely. Havertz would score and Havertz is like
Yeah.
not even that he wins all the headers. He's not great maybe at scoring them, but anyway, like I think in terms of how the team plays and like I don't know, there's certain points of this where Everton will want to have a lot of pressure, and Arsenal maybe they go, well, we play a lot too many games. We're going to try and absorb pressure, which is obviously a risky plan, but we should be able to do it hopefully to at least a little bit. Um, like obviously without Gabriel, it's a bit tough, but you would hope that Arsenal can maintain a little bit of pressure. They can sustain it a little bit and then go on the counter like we did last year against Everton, and we have done before. And then someone like Gyökeres makes a lot of sense. If you're going to play an Eze and a Gyökeres, I don't really think that makes much sense. Them two just don't have the chem, and I don't mind playing them two as together in a game where, like Wolves at home, for example, where again we should win on paper pretty easily, even though we try our best not to. But a game away against Everton where we've not had a good record there. I know it's a new stadium, but we haven't had a good record away against Everton. We drew it to them at home 0-0 last year, which I remember vividly, and I mention it in nearly every video because there's one Kai Havertz pass in there, which is amazing. So I mention it all the time. But like, I just think like, I don't know. It really depends how he sees it. I would prefer to play Gyökeres. I'd probably prefer to play Jesus, but I just don't know if Jesus is fully fit. Maybe I might be like he could be. I think Jesus would make more sense than anyone else. But with his comments recently about how he wants to kind of like he kind of feels a bit bad for Gyökeres, and Arteta's a very logical man. Like he's not going to play someone that's just bad. Um, It's funny because I watched the Wolves game, and when I was watching the Wolves game, I was laughing. I was literally laughing the whole time because I was like, Gyökeres is not touching the ball. We've got 10 men again. He's useless. And then when I rewatched the game, like the second time and the third and the fourth time, I realized watching it that actually I don't think he had that bad. Against Club Brugge, I thought he was awful. But against Wolves, I actually did see, I know it's Wolves and they are worst team in the league or whatever. Not that probably not as bad as Burnley, but they haven't got to win this season. But I
Yeah.
watched the game and I was just like, there was a lot of things that he's doing that he isn't getting the ball. And there's also a lot of things that he did that I didn't like. Like he pins a defender and he makes one movement to the front post and it gives up. He does it all the time, all the time. He does that, and he doesn't do that double movement anymore. And I think that's that confidence thing. I don't think he's a bad player
Yeah.
because like channel runs he used to do all the time before the Burnley game, and now since his injury he hasn't. It's not like he hasn't been doing that sort of good work.
I
I
wonder if
just
there's a physical issue there as well, where he's like, I can't make, because he was like one of the highest repeat sprint players in Europe. So I do wonder if it's partly that and confidence. And I also wonder if coaching wise, if they're being like, don't always, it's hard to know though. Like,
it's so like the whole Gyökeres conundrum is just like multiple different factors that have contributed to this at the moment, which is many factors that I brought up in the summer about how he doesn't fit our system. Are we going to adapt? We did play a lot more direct, but now the team is getting tired and we're playing the same players. We're not direct anymore, really. We got back to our same sort
no.
of mold. And that's really not helping a player like Victor Gyökeres in the team. And if you're going to play like that and everyone's tired, then it makes more sense to play Marino. Um,
Hmm.
but like, if anyone's seen the training clips, Gyökeres is our best finisher in the squad, and I think that's something that people forget. That's the reason why he signed. I don't think his finishing's been particularly amazing for us, but I will argue that he hasn't also had that many chances. Like we talk about how many chances Jesus gets because of his brilliant false nine work, but every time he gets into that crucial moment, he misses. Even against Wolves in the last minute, he does so well. He carries the ball, out physicals the guy. I think he shifts it onto his left foot really well, kicks it straight at the keeper just outside the box. And I was like, that is something that if Gyökeres is in that range, I would expect him to score or at least get a good shot away. And Jesus
Yeah.
just doesn't. Havertz doesn't. Marino doesn't. Marino's okay, but on the four, not as much. So it's like getting him into them areas, which is the issue. And he's clearly got a lack of confidence, a lack of like in knowing his teammates. I think I can't remember who said it. Henri spoke about it loads, but other people have said it about how I think Gary Neville actually said it, where it's like when you're a player, you know what other players like, what sort of passes they want to do, what sort of moves they do, and Gyökeres just doesn't understand that, and it's so apparent with Saka. Him and Saka have no chem; they just do not understand each other on the pitch at all. And as soon as Jesus came on, Saka just knew where Jesus was all the time. It just worked a
Yeah.
lot more, and that's not even just because Jesus is playing, but that's just fundamentally there's just connections. But I would actually ask anyone to go and watch the highlights to the Napoli Inter Milan game from yesterday in the Coppa Italia semi-final, where Rasmus Højlund in that game, I think plays exactly like Victor Gyökeres does. I think his play style is the exact same. The same channel runs, the same angles that I've criticized Gyökeres to make, but he was so successful. He got an assist and a goal. His goal was incredible. And I was like, we need to get him into the moments more. We need to start baiting the midfield more, which is hard in the Prem where teams just sit deep. I get that, but we need to be able to pin him in these areas. And he is a guy that loves. The problem is with Gyökeres, and it's the same with Højlund. When I watched Højlund yesterday, is that he likes making these runs on the left side more than the right. And it's clear that he feels maybe in Portugal it was fine both sides, which is something we brought up. But maybe I think now because the confidence in there, the league is harder. He has to go down this left, and we just don't have them passes when Trossard's not in the team. Like Martinelli, like I liked that run that he did, and I don't blame him for shooting. But ultimately, if you're shooting from 5 yards out, you've got to score. And he missed 2 chances from 5 yards out in this game, and I'm like, there is a certain level. If you're not going to score, you should pass it. Odegaard inside the box, he's down the wing, he shoots into the side netting. You've got to be looking for Gyökeres, man. What are you? You're a creative midfielder. Like that's stuff that I think is inexcusable. But I don't know. There's just a lot going on with Gyökeres, and I feel bad for him in a sense because I do think he's been thrown in the deep end a little bit from his return from injury. And like a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't saying this, but I've really done a lot of like I've been doing. I did a big video about him. I've watched him loads, and I've been trying to get to that level to understand it. And I do think the players around him also aren't doing as much, as his box movement is awful. I think his box movement from stale positions, like when Saka has the ball slowly, isn't good. But then I never thought it was good. I never expected it to be good because that's not the player he is. So we've got to stop playing so slow and play more direct to help him. I had another point that I liked, but I can't remember it. But that's it. So good.
Thanks, mate. I do appreciate that. What you think of it? Charles, thanks for the comment, mate. Free Kobe Manu. If available in Jan, will we react and buy him? I mean, we went over this earlier at the beginning of the pod, which was about 2 hours ago that we started. God, that's mad, isn't it? We do ramble on this channel. We both kind of said, really, the likelihood of him coming to Arsenal is slim to none, especially with the record of us bringing in players from Man United, the price that they would probably demand, also his lack of kind of specialism. I don't think it will happen, but there we go. Should we go from, since we've gone from 111, let's go on to a final level 11 before we finish up. So I'm going to share something here. And this really did make me laugh because I want your comments, okay, your reaction, Reece, to this 11. And then I'm going to do something. All right, so ready? Here it is.
Oh, I do. Before we start that, just last point. This is
you
not
remembered it. Go on.
No, this isn't my point I was going to bring up. But I was going to say last point, if we are moving on from the Everton game, obviously the big part of this is they are missing some of their best players. Iliman Njai, one of my favorite players. Everyone knows. I absolutely love him.
He is great.
He's at AFCON. And obviously, I think Grealish might be fine. I think Grealish is going to be fit. But Dewsbury Hall won't be fit. And just a guy on a gaze, also a starter. He's not there as well. So with them aspects, they should be weaker attacking at least. So it should give us more pressure. But that's it. That's a big part.
I wasn't expecting that. Oh, well, yeah. Okay. Right. The FIFA best men's 11. Well, the question is, Reece, do you agree with selections? So we got Donnarumma in goal, Hakimi, Van Dijk, Pacho, and Mendes rounding out the back.
Pacho, what beast.
I
like Pacho.
Pedri and Vitinha with a 3 across the line of Yamal right, Bellingham in the middle, Palmer on the left, and Mbele up top. Come on, what are your thoughts? Straight away you said Pacho.
No, I don't really have an issue with Pacho. I just like that he's been recognised. Like that's a player. Like the problem is with these awards it's like when I remember vividly on them, like when you used to play FIFA and get team of the years or that or whatever, or the team of the seasons, and it'd be like the La Liga, and it's like Ramos, PK, and then you like obviously when you're like 13, you're like, oh yeah, I'm not watching the Spanish league every week. They probably had good seasons, and then you like realize that actually like one of them was maybe doing well, but the other one's like, oh, Barca are third in the league. Their defense has been awful. Well, then how's PK get? Oh yeah, because they didn't know who to give it to, so just gave it to PK. It's like, oh, okay, I see. And it's like that so many of these awards are like that. Like there's that like De Bruyne was getting nominated for these awards even last year. He'd been injured for like 2 years and he was still getting nominated, like put in these teams. And it's like they clearly just don't watch it, and they're like, De Bruyne is a good player, let's put him in. And it's like, well, yeah, but he's like not fit. It's like, I mean, Pacho, I mean, fair enough. Like, I don't think Pacho against, like, I think in the Champions League game, so he had to be good. He did his job. I don't think he was, like, exceptional. I think he did his job. And
yeah,
then
that's how I feel about him.
And he plays in a crap league. So, like who cares? Like, at least with Hakimi.
I can't remember any moments he had. Do you know what I mean? Like, I
yeah,
can't
he's just
remember
a quiet
him.
defender. Like, he just is that. Like,
yeah.
he's not, like, Mendes and Hakimi are, like, everyone says the best fullbacks in the world. I think how they play for club and country consistently, I would probably be like, fair enough. Like, I have to agree that the performance level I've seen by Hakimi in every big game and every big game Mendes has played, I'm like, okay, these guys take over. These guys
have moments as well. They're like the glamour fullbacks now in world football, aren't they? So
Mendes
kind of
is like one of the
round.
Mendes is like genuinely can be one of the best left backs of all time. If he continues, so he is how he plays football is beyond crazy. Like, Hakimi to me makes sense,
Mm.
like given like where he's come from. Like, but Mendes is like this guy was like some overlapping left back, and now he's just everything. Like he's everything you want in a left back. Like he's one of the players that really gives us the torrid time when we play a lot, and it's like I
Yep.
don't really see the same with Hakimi. Like Hakimi played well against us to an extent, but I wasn't that bad. Like I don't know, Hakimi was all right. I mean, I got a big old Morocco shirt with Hakimi on. That's my guy. But um, Pacho, fair enough. Like I just like the recognition of a player that they usually wouldn't get in there being in there. Who won the Champions League? Like I'd rather Pacho be in there than like Marquinhos. Just even if Marquinhos is better, I don't
Yep.
care. I think it's more fun. Donnarumma, my biggest March enemy. Yeah, fair enough. Like can't even argue. Even for Man City, I can't even argue with. He can't. By the way, Donnarumma cannot defend corners. He is hilarious from corners. Anyone watch Man City defend corners, and everyone
Someone's so big as well.
Oh, he's just so
Like,
terrified. So terrified. Van Dijk shouldn't be. Well, I guess Van Dijk won the league. I guess, yeah. It's for
mm,
last year. It's in last year, innit? I'm getting like caught up with timings a bit. It's for like
with,
most
and
people.
that's why I find like it should be right at the end of the season. Like, why are we doing it
Yeah.
now?
But
Like,
is this is for this season or is it for the year? Because if it's for the, I hate when they do it for the year because it's like, well, that's 2 seasons to combine. That's just a weird. Because if it
I
is for a
want to
year,
say it's for the season, but I could be
well,
wrong.
it better be
Because
because
if
if
you were
not,
including the last like 4 months, I mean, yeah, it
yeah,
doesn't make sense. But there we go.
Pedri should be in there. Pedri's fine. Pedri's actually
I agree with that.
chopped off a little bit this season, but if we counted last season, yeah, he was one of the best players in the world. I think João Neves is a better midfielder than Vitinha, and I think he was better last season. I think Vitinha just has all the hype because of the player he is, but I think when you actually watch him on the football pitch, I don't think it's particularly close who's better.
I
And that's
wish
coming
we
from
got
someone
João Neves.
that's coming from someone who loves Vitinha. Like he's one of my guys, but I just
Mm.
think Vitinha does a lot of the simple things. I think João Neves takes over games consistently, and there is games where Vitinha does take over. Of course, he's got a hat trick against Tottenham recently, which is crazy. But I just think João Neves is a better footballer. I don't know. I just think he's been better. Um, Yamal's fine. Yeah, Yamal's like insane. Dembele's absolutely fine as well. I don't think
Yeah,
Dembele will
I
ever
want to
get to
say
that heights of last season though. I think that's it
no.
now. I think he had one season. It's like Benzema had a lot of good seasons, but then that one season he was just insane, best player on the planet by a mile. And then he like obviously went to Saudi a year later, but like it's just never going to reach that level again, even if he stayed in
Yep.
the Spanish league. So I think the same with Dembele. I think he'd be happy with that. I have no idea how Bellingham's
Bellingham,
got it.
yeah.
He's
I
not even Real
mean,
Madrid's good best player. Like, and they won nothing.
and
They
then
won.
Palmer.
I mean, it's funny because Palmer deserves to be in it more than Bellingham, but I don't think Palmer deserves to be. It's because, but that's the funny thing with Twix. People criticize Palmer because they look at him, and I don't think he should be in there at all. I'm not saying, obviously, Mohamed Salah not to be on this list again is a joke because he is like, but he is the reason Liverpool won the league. You could say maybe Van Dijk,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
big part of it, but it's all Salah. Salah's the reason why they won the league, and that's why they're going through all this stuff at the moment because he's crying because he's like, well, I did win you the league, and Benjamin did win them the league. Like, you would just shove your mouth onto the. Well, they've shoved Palmer onto the left here, who doesn't play there. So you know,
And
if you
this
can
is
do that,
my thing. I went, well, what on earth, like Rafinha? Okay, well, I would have Rafinha all day, yeah, if you're looking at last season on the left-hand side. And then, which was really easy, interesting. So this is Sky Sports, right? And I looked at this, and that was the part which really annoyed me. So I was like, Palmer as a left wing, like, what are we doing? And I saw this on FIFA's website, and then they've played it. So they've done like a 4-4-2 formation, and then Palmer's out on the right, Pedri's out on the left, and stuff. And I was like, well, that kind of, I mean, the back four and stuff, it doesn't change the kind of the optics of it. But suddenly I was like, well, that kind of makes a little bit more sense if you're saying Palmer's out on the right-hand side. But it's almost like, I don't know, the whole problem with this is if you're taking into account like the balance of a team, if you're just going like, who is the best individuals, but in which case you wouldn't end up with 4 defenders, 4 midfield. Like, do you know what I mean? Are they just going, well, we're just doing 4 midfielders, but in that case, like, is Yamal a forward or is he a midfielder? Or like, there's so many different grey areas with this. For me, Bellingham, Palmer shouldn't be in there. Don't think Pacho should be in there as much as I think he had a good season. But like I said earlier, I think he just, Roy Keane says it, just did his job,
It's funny how it's based on accolades then when it's not. Like, this is the problem with all these awards and everything. Like, it's like the same with the Grammys or the Streamer Awards or whatever. Everything's based on numbers until it's not based on numbers. Like, okay, a lot of these players won stuff, but then Palmer didn't, and he's in there. Bellingham didn't, and he's there. So why? And also the formations that are capped, they just make 11 players, and they probably sit there and go, I reckon the idea is be like 4 defenders, 4 midfielders, maybe 2 attackers, 4, I don't know, like something like that. They do probably like a 4-3-3 or something like that. Because there's so many times in the past where they don't have a left back, so they just don't pick one, and then they make it weird. And it's like we've got Troy Deeney or Garth Crooks making the team, and he's putting he puts Marino in central midfield after Marino plays well up front because he's like, oh yeah, but he can play midfield. So in my team of the week, I'm going to put him in midfield. I was like, well, that just ruins the point of it because he play up front. Like, he didn't play in midfield. Stuff like that just annoys me because it's just like, what's the point? Palmer being in it's a bit of a joke because there is just better players. And like Palmer last season he was good, but the season before he was fantastic. Last season he had injury problems. This season he's had loads of injury problems. Jude Bellingham, exact same. 2 years ago, if you put him in this team, of course he's one of the best players in the world. Last year he was just mid, and they won nothing. And he was Real Madrid's 4th best player. Like, he's not even in the Courtois was better when he wasn't injured. Mbappe's their best player.
It almost feels like they needed a Madrid player in. It was like, well, who can we put?
They should have put Mbappe in. Oh, he's way better.
Yeah.
Just put him up front.
I
and put
wonder
Yamal
if it's the thing of they went, oh, but if we put Mbappe in, then we can't take Dembele out, and then. Yeah, but we've already put Yamal as the other forward.
In this team, they could still do that. They could just put him up front next to Dembele and move Yamal to the right and kick Palmer out. Like,
that's true.
It's a change.
Maybe they could have put Yamal as.
They could do whatever they want to change it. Like, look at the team. Pedri's playing left mid. Like, what are we doing there? Like, it's like they just do whatever they want. So I don't know. Some of these players not being
which is worse, this or this?
The 4-4-2 is worse. Like, I think. I just think that's a mess of a team.
It's just so bad either way.
Yamal's never played up front. Like, what? I know Dembele's the Ballon d'Or winner. He had a great season last year, but there is undeniably 3 strikers in the world that are just absolutely on fire at the moment, and they're just nowhere to be seen. Like Mbappe, Kane, and Haaland, nowhere. Like, these guys are some of these guys, if they don't win anything, won't be on any of these awards in the Haaland. If he doesn't win anything, again, he won't get on any awards like last year. It's an absolute joke.
Which is mental.
And it'll be down to the World Cup as well, because, France win. Oh, here you go, Mbappe. It's like, he plays in Norway. Like, Norway are good right now, but I don't think anyone thinks they're going to win the World Cup. So it's just stupidly unfair. It's like the whole Lewandowski thing. Like, he plays for Poland, so he never has a chance. And then any 2 years where it's European Championship or World Cup, he's never going to win anything. Even if he scores 4 million goals, doesn't matter. So it's just stupid awards.
I just hope I haven't got my eggs in any basket when it comes to Haaland. I have a kind of a. Sometimes I think, I quite like that side of him, and other times I just think, you're such a. I just can't make a comment on YouTube about what I think of him at times. But for him personally, I hope that at some point it's recognised that what he's doing year in and year out is just unbelievable. Because we've had the conversation, we had the argument actually, the hot debate about defences over the years. And you could say, well, it's easier for Haaland or whatever. But even on a mid-year for him, he is hitting outrageous numbers. And you might look at his style of game and go, oh, it's not aesthetically pleasing, and he can't. But the one thing he does is he's paid to score goals, and he does a damn good job of it. I actually find
Haaland should have won the Ballon d'Or the year that he joined Man City and won the treble. He got scammed by Messi because yet again, and then everyone will be like, well, Messi's the best player in the world because he won this many Ballon d'Ors. Okay, a couple of them they just gave him to him. Same with Ronaldo. Let's be honest. It was definitely Haaland's to win. And he should have won it because he won everything and was incredible. Haaland, I think people my age, I was thinking about this the other day actually, and I watched one of the Haaland's documentary vlogs on YouTube. I think Haaland's very, very hard to dislike at people my age. He's a year older than me. He's very similar age group. He has the same like humor that I do. He does the same things he does. Like his vlogs on YouTube, you can see his personality, and it's very similar to what I would say me and my friends are like, or like people I know. So I would say a lot of people my age, or at least who I've been brought up with, I find him so hard to dislike him because there is that moments that he does lose his head and he has said stupid stuff. But I always put down football, sporting, just general sports. I put when people after a game are heated, I don't take what they say seriously. I take this so seriously in Formula One, where people like gospel and what people say after a 3-hour race when they're like tired, they'll probably say crazy stuff. I'm tired now. I might go and say crazy stuff, but I don't mean it. Like, I think I'll always give the benefit of the doubt to like Arteta after the game if he gets a bit annoyed. And I give that to Haaland. And Haaland's actually been quite respectful of Arsenal in hindsight. After the game, he's actually like respectful to Gabriel. They have a friendly, like, it's a good rivalry in game, but it isn't like a Roy Keane, Patrick. They don't hate each other outside the game. They talk, they're fine. And I kind of like that in a sportsmanship factor. And I kind of like that in terms of a competitive nature as well. And Haaland's I just think he's such a likable dude. And this season, watching him, he's incredible. Like, if I didn't want Man City to not, if I was any other team and was like, oh, I want Man City to win the league or whatever, I would watch all City's games and be so happy because it's so fun because he touches the ball 20 times a game and he'll have like 10 shots in it. And it's like, how is it? I think on average this season, he has a shot every like 5.5 touches, which is like got to be a record. That is absurd. And like to get his movement off the ball, which I'm a big fan of, is the best I've ever seen. His just ruthlessness. Like people go, well, he misses loads of chances. Yeah, he does miss loads of chances, but how much do you think he gets in so many? Like he's just always available. He's always an option. If you give the ball to him at any moment, even if he has 10 touches a game, he will do something with it. And like quick, physical, a great player. Like, Haaland's special, man. That guy deserves to be in the greats. And because he plays in England for Man City, I don't think that people will put, obviously in this country they will, but I don't think in the wider scheme of things, they never give credit, even though we are such a competitive league. If he was at the Liga at Real Madrid, he'd probably score ×2 of what maybe Mbappe does. And then maybe he'd get credit then, but incredible footballer. Like, it's unfortunate we have to go against him.
That could be the future for him. Like, long term, leave City. Yeah, and that could be a way of them solving the whole Vinny and Mbappe conundrum. You get rid of Vinny, Mbappe's just the left, you play Haaland up top. And, I mean, in theory, that is an obscene lineup to have.
Even if they just did a 4-4-2, they should just do a 4-4-2, play both of them up front. That'd be, oh my God. Imagine a Mbappe Haaland time 2. Oh my God. Oh,
yeah.
But he's there. He's got his contract till whatever, 2031 or whatever. Too. So yeah,
he's long old.
I don't know if he's ever going to leave.
Yeah. Oh.
Like Pep, though. Pep's going to leave, so.
Before we finish up, right, let's quickly go. Is he leaving at the end of the season, yes or no?
2 years ago, I said that he'd leave it before the World Cup. 2 years ago. I actually said it in a video 2 years ago.
Okay, next question.
I predicted it.
Is it as of the impending 115?
No. I think his plan was always to leave in 2026. This is why I said this 3 years ago, like 2 years ago in a video. I think I was speaking about something else, but he extended his contract to an extra year at the time, and it was going to run out in 2026. I don't know now if it is until 2026. I can't remember when his contract runs out, but this was always the plan, I thought. And this is why when they started signing loads of this is when they started signing loads of children in January last year. I was like, well, this gives me the idea that they're planning for a future without him. But then he's still there, so they're not playing. So I've said this. In the summer, I literally said, like, I don't really get what they're doing because it feels like they are buying players for Pep, but then also there's the idea that Pep's going to leave, which I think he will leave because the rumors are that he wants to take over. He wants to have a break from club football and take over an international job. And there's always been them rumors about England after the World Cup being a prominent, like they're going to give him a big offer. That was the rumors. Tuchel's going to leave. He never won tournament. And this has been a thing for like 2 years. It hasn't been like a secret thing. So
Yeah.
I thought it had actually gone stale. And I thought, oh, maybe he's going to stay for an extra year for some reason. Like, I don't really see the point of staying for 2026, 27. I don't know. Like, what's the point? Especially if the team is at where they are. But I've heard a lot of people
Mhm.
say, well, maybe he wanted to steady the ship a little bit because they had a bad year last year. And then that,
Yep.
okay, maybe makes sense. But I think he's going to leave. He might not leave, but he's going to leave at least in the next 18 months. I can't see him
Yeah.
staying much longer. And Maresca makes a lot of sense. If Chelsea don't want him, Man City will take him. It makes a lot of sense to me. Like, I don't know. I'm not surprised by the news. It's a bit scary to think like what sort of impact this is going to have on City now. But City broadly are playing quite bad at the moment. They're winning every game. That's the worry. Like what I'm worried about if they do start playing well, are they just going to thrash everyone even more than they are already, and they don't even deserve to win? Like, Ray and Chucky's really, really good, really, really good at the
Yeah.
moment. And like they've really found a way to get him in the team. So there is some worries there. But if they're like they are one Haaland injury away from like a lot of bad because Marmoush isn't even there. He's at AFCON. So
I don't wish an injury on anyone, but I just want Arsenal to win the league.
just wanted to be
Couple
fair.
questions. All right, so here we go. And ironically, you answered one of the questions I had for you. Is he going to leave? If he leaves at the end of this year, will he leave City in a better place than when he actually took over the job? Also, will he be viewed, in your opinion, like on the whole, as the best Premier League manager? Or will Sir Alex Ferguson be that one?
I mean, I guess just in terms of sheer volume, then Sir Alex Ferguson will always probably be seen as the greatest ever. Because I also just don't think managers will be given that amount of time, and
The opportunity to do, yeah.
managers will want to stay there. I feel like managers like Sir Alex is a bit different because he's Scottish and he's a bit more like known in the area and stuff. But I don't unless there's a big English manager going to come through and have that mentality and be really good and keep winning trophies. It's very unlikely that like these people have that ambition. You've seen the reports about Arteta saying that like a Gunner blog today or as Arsenal said today that like oh there's some talk about Arteta doesn't want to be here forever and like he might end his contract and take a break from football. And that makes sense. How intense these guys are and how much
Mm-hmm.
they do in their job. I completely get it. I completely understand why you would want to break, especially if you achieve one thing. Like Pep's won so many prems already. What more is winning 7 prems to 5 or 6 prems to 5? Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't personally, I don't really look at differences like that. I know as a manager they will because they want to keep winning and keep achieving. I completely understand that, but I don't know. Like I think in terms of me and how I look at things, I will always hold Pep in terms of a different light because obviously it's my age demographic a lot more than Sir Alex. I was 12 when Sir Alex's last season happened. It's very much more my tactical systems. I do think the league is insanely competitive now, and I just don't think why many of the seasons under Sir Alex were competitive. I don't even think Sir Alex's signings were that good half of the years, and they didn't have to be because the teams around them were just awful. No one knew what they were doing. It's like the Bundesliga now. Like all the clubs are just awful at just buying players. And no one had any money at that point. Like 10, 15 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, when Man City and Chelsea got his cash injection, everyone was like, oh my God, they're going to take over. Newcastle got that now, and they're just broadly like a top 8. They are a top 8 team, but they're not like dominating. Newcastle are not at that level at the moment, and they've had money for 3 years now. It's been quite a while.
Yeah.
Like I think in terms of that, I think Pep's definitely got to be like just behind Sir Alex though. I would put him in there. I think he's
Yeah. Yeah.
revolutionary a lot. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just think I don't know. What was the other question? I can't remember.
I can't remember now. My mind's gone blank now. How
I
funny is
just
that?
I just think like with Pep and stuff, like he will get
Oh, has he
disrespected.
left? Will he leave the club in a better position than when he got it?
Oh yeah, they were like a mess. Well, not a mess, but they were like pretty bad when he got there. Um, He had to fix a lot of this because they did win the Prem and stuff, but like their managers like Pellegrini and Mancini are just like B B tier managers. I feel harsh saying it about
Yeah,
Mancini,
I
especially. I don't
think,
really
yeah.
care about Pellegrini, but Mancini, like obviously did win the Euros with Italy. I get that, but I still don't think you need to be an A-star manager to win a European an international trophy at all. I don't think there's any tactics really in international football. It's more about
Yeah.
man management and just not being stupid, which some people are. And if you've got a really good squad, then you're gonna have a bigger advantage. So I
100%.
think yeah, the team are in a good spot. I do think it's interesting. I don't think City are going to be very competitive. Like maybe they will because they have Haaland and he is incredible. But I do think there's going to be some issues there because I think with how City buy players, it's so tinkered. Every player is so articulated into the team. Turkey now is working because they basically use Bernardo Silva to cover for all his insignificant problems. They basically put them next to each other and go, well, if you're not going to track back, Bernardo will. If you're not going to
Yeah.
get in the right position here, if you're not going to make a run, Bernardo will. So it helps him. It gives him more space as well on the ball. I don't know many managers that are going to be that tactical in depth. Enzo Maresca is certainly one of them, and I definitely think if you give Enzo Maresca better recruitment, not more because he's got loads at Chelsea, but better recruitment and maybe a bit of a better direction. I think Chelsea have lacked a direction. I think a lot of the time, I think that might help Enzo Maresca in a lot of like these big games. And Enzo Maresca is a manager that does really well in the big games, but it's them small games that he struggles with, which I'd be interested to see what he would do at City for that instance. But I think that a lot of their players, I think they have wasted money on players that they didn't know if Pep was going to leave or join for like loads of
Yeah.
time. Vitor Reece, 30 mil. Where is he? He's at Genoa. He's alone in these places, not even playing. You know, Kushinov, who is an incredible Uzbekistani youngster who is just spearheading them to the World Cup, an incredible player. I think he's really good. I think he's really, really got a lot of potential. But even Pep doesn't play him all the time. Or he does play him, or he doesn't play him. Or he does, and he's just kind of stunting his growth, you know. And it's like, is a new manager going to come in and play him in right back? Maybe that's the case because they still don't have a right back, by the way. They haven't one for 2
Yeah.
years. I don't know what's going on. I just feel like City's team has not only got a lot of insignificant pieces, like is Rodri going to get fit? And their defense, by the way, this season has been bad. It's not good. They can see so many chances. And it's because Rodri isn't there and they haven't learned to live with him. Is he gonna get fit again? Are they gonna be able to integrate him in? What are they gonna do with all these dead weight players like Out Nori who they spent 30 million on? And everyone was telling me it was a great signing when I knew he was crap. When they spent 30 million, I was like, he's just a mid left back. Like he's not gonna do anything. And like so I don't know. Like I think in terms of the stature of the club, of course, but I think like what you said, like a big point on the squad. I don't know if their squad's going to be in a great spot. Like Haaland and Inshallah is going to be the system. I think in tactics. I don't know. Poor Enzo.
That's the thing. I think one thing for Maresca is that one, he can get players of an age above 20, and also, although he struggled a lot against like lower blocks and teams lower down the table, some of those players are cheat codes to that. I mean, like Haaland is just put him in any type of like phase of play against any team in any moment. Like he just knows what to do. Unfortunately, I think he'd be a great manager for him. I do think he'd be really, really good. And the narrative would be like, what a storyline with Arteta and Maresca. It'd be like, the Pep proteges going up against each other. And
If
yeah,
they don't, I don't know
nice.
who else they'd go in for because they want someone who's very, very tactical. They want someone that knows the club. Well, who is the Enzo Maresca and Arteta? We're not getting Arteta, so might not get Enzo. If Chelsea have a good season, he stays there.
He's definitely more likely than Arteta, though.
Yeah.
And I know I'm biased, but
Arteta has the keys to our club. He's allowed to do anything he wants.
And that's the difference, isn't it? Yeah. And he's very, very well paid. I'm sure Maresca's on a very good wage, but I think Arteta's, he's got the money and he's got the kind of
Chelsea
decisions.
will sack Enzo as well. He won't last the end of the season. They'll just get trigger happy and be like, "Yep, we've had enough. Get rid of him." When he's like actually a good manager and he's got like loads of potential. But yeah, they'll just do it because that's Chelsea.
Yeah. Mate, what are we on? 2 hours, 27 minutes, almost 2.5 hours. I was like earlier, like, what are my eyes hitting? These lights. Like,
and we only played Wolves. This is us talking about one game, bear in mind.
I know, that's mad, isn't it? Are we going to be on next week? What is it? It's going to be going to be Boxing Day, is it? What is it next week?
Yeah,
it's going to be Boxing Day. I feel like maybe we need to do a little premium one. Might need to do an early one and then put that one out. Oh, we just had someone subscribe and I've absolutely lost the notification. Oh, put your name in the chat if you're on. Thank you for subscribing. Really appreciate it. Guys, thank you for tuning in, especially with us waffling on for 2.5 hours on your Friday at 11 o'clock at night. If you haven't done so, like the video, hype it, subscribe to the channel. We are on course. I'm getting 1,000. I am getting 1,000 next year. By this time next year, though, I do want to be up towards the 5,000. That's the plan, Bockles. I'm going to actually be content coming out,
and I want to be on 100k. So we've got the goals.
Yes, mate, definitely. Yes, 100%. I'm going to be on the Canon podcast a little bit more and doing a lot more behind the scenes, which is quite cool as well. So look out for that. I think I might be on the instant reaction tomorrow for the Everton game. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's
Hopefully
Saturday. Remember, it's Saturday.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was so funny when you said that because I was like, what? Pure panic. That did not help. But yeah, so I'll be on there hopefully tomorrow for a nice win. Reece, where can people find you?
Wockles. It's Wockles. All the channels. All of them. You know how
I love it when you do that. You do it with such verve. And we'll be either live next week or there'll be a premiere coming out, a pre-recorded one. So if not,